This page is the front cover of SEGA Saturn Magazine Weekly, dated 1997, July 11th. The cover screams about volume being increased and is packed with the latest SEGA Saturn info for the summer. The main visual features anime-style characters that look like they're from a fighting game. There are teasers for articles inside, including a special feature on healing games, suggesting relaxing gameplay, and another special on NEC Interchannel. Game titles teased on the cover include Sonic SAR, Sega Touring Car Championship, Super Robot Tyson F/Azeel, Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, Slayers Royal, and Street Fighter Collection. It mentions 2 new Sega titles being announced and a real sound feature which might be about audio in games. The price of the magazine is 390 yen. This page is a promotional advertisement for a SEGA Saturn game. It's highlighting a game that focuses on being a full-fledged love story that you play purely with sound. You step into the shoes of the protagonist named Hiroshi and relive the memories of your first love, experiencing a drama that blends nostalgia and a touch of sadness. The text describes it as a story that gently opens the drawer of your heart, suggesting an emotional and introspective experience. The developer is Warp, and they are presenting this game to everyone on the SEGA Saturn. The image of the woman by the ocean evokes a sense of calm and gentle emotion that aligns with the described theme of the game. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game, Real Sound Wins Regret. It highlights the game's unique concept of being playable purely with sound, emphasizing that the game uses no visuals at all. The tagline, "That wind changed us," suggests a narrative and emotional experience. The ad announces the release date as July 18th, a Friday, with the game being sold on 4 Credroms for 6,400 yen, excluding tax. The web page address for Real Sound is also provided, and it's noted that the game is developed by Warp, as indicated by the logo and copyright information. It's all about experiencing this love story entirely through audio on the SEGA Saturn. This page is a full-spread advertisement announcing a new SEGA Saturn game that's a huge robot crossover. It's shouting about an ultimate robot gathering, and features everything from classic Mazinger Z to the newer Evangelion robots. They're boasting about having the biggest roster of robots in the series, and are bringing it to the SEGA Saturn with a brand new system. The artwork shows a bunch of super deformed style robots, all crammed together, looking ready for action. Below the main image are some gameplay screenshots that look like a strategy RPG, with menus and turn-based battles on a grid. We can see the release date is set for August 29th, 1997, and the game will cost 6,800 yen. It's advertised as a simulation role-playing game, and it's from Banpresto. This looks like a dream game for fans of robot anime on the Saturn. This page showcases Super Robot Wars F, continuing the hype from the previous page. It's really hammering home the massive robot roster, which they're calling the Ultimate Robot Gathering. You can see screenshots of the tactical gameplay, confirming it's a strategy RPG, just like we expected. It looks like they are showing off various battles with different robots and pilots, from classic series like Mazinger Z and newer anime such as Evangelion, which is a big deal. The interface looks clean, showing HP and N gauges, and the dialogue boxes confirm it's story-driven. Banpresto are clearly aiming to deliver a definitive robot crossover experience on the Saturn, and based on this page, it looks like they're on track to do just that when it launches on August 29th, 1997. It's definitely shaping up to be a must-have for any robot anime fan with a Saturn. This page is all about Magical Drop for the SEGA Saturn. They are calling it a puzzle game revolution. It's advertised as popularly on sale now and priced at 5,800 yen. The page is dominated by artwork of the main characters from the game, those quirky and colorful personalities that the series is known for. There's also an advertisement for a selling campaign, where you can win a New Life 3-item set of original Magical Drop goods if you fill out a questionnaire postcard and send it in. 2,000 lucky people will be drawn to win, and the deadline to enter is the end of July. It seems like they are really pushing Magical Drop as the must-have puzzle game for Saturn owners at the time. This page is part 4 of the Anyone Can Understand Magical Drop lecture, and it's subtitled Final Episode, so it looks like this is the last in the series. Hyprista Sensei is back to teach us how to master the special jewels, or SP jewels, in Magical Drop. It mentions that SP jewels, as explained before, are great for erasing drops of the same color, and can trigger chain reactions for big scores. They highlight 2 main ways to use SP jewels effectively: during chain combos, and when you're in a pinch, calling it a big erase technique. The page then transitions into High Priestess Sensei's cooking class, which is a funny way to present a gameplay tip. It's like a recipe for creating SP jewels. The tutorial explains how to use ice jewels and normal drops to set up a situation where you can create more SP jewels, almost like they're multiplying. It sounds like a clever trick to really maximize your SP jewel usage in Magical Drop. They even exclaim it's amazing that SP jewels can increase like that. The characters also mention it's the final episode and thank readers for following along, saying, "See you in the game!" It seems like a fun and informative way to wrap up the Magical Drop tutorial series, reinforcing the game as a must-have puzzle experience. This page showcases a diverse collection of games and content. At the top, there's Girls Collection in Shinjuku Joyopolis, which seems to be a video compilation of interviews with girls in Shinjuku Joyopolis, featuring a total of 50 people. Next is Adventure Boy Pit Boy 5, likely referring to Clockwork Knight, described as a nail-biting action game focused on the battle against the final boss in a fiery sea setting. Picture Book, or Ethon, is presented as a word search puzzle game that's highly addictive and enjoyable as a minigame. Moving on, Barbara Konomi's Numerology offers fortune-telling with biorhythm analysis and helpful advice. Then we have a demo version of Riglord Saga 2, labeled as Demo Game Quo Vadis 2, giving players a taste of this strategy title. Digital Comic Brother provides digital manga content. In the minigame section there's Enjoyable Blackjack, a straightforward blackjack game. Capture Marbles, Toru Toru Marbles, is described as a technically demanding game where you manipulate marbles. World Domination Company, Limited, is a minigame where you train monsters. And finally, Qing Li Fu Company, Limited, appears to be a minigame where you fight against employees of a secret company, possibly hinting at a beat-em-up style action. The overall message is that this collection is packed with games, including minigames, serial releases, demos, and even strategy videos, making it a very worthwhile purchase. This page promotes Gameware Volume 5, a 2-disc set, priced at 2,980 yen. It's advertised as packed with content, including strategy videos for Virtua Fighter 3 and Sakura Wars. You can see the title screens for both Disc A and Disc B, which feature sections like Minigame Corner, Serial Game, Digital Comic, Information, Game Collection, RPG Club, and Digital Gallery, hinting at a diverse range of games and features included. It's announced as being released on this day and contains 2 discs. There's also a Sakura Wars W Chance campaign where you can apply to win Sakura Wars. Jigsaw Puzzles: A prize is a 1,000-piece puzzle for 50 winners, B prize a 500-piece for 100 winners, and C prize a 300-piece puzzle for 200 winners. As an added bonus, purchasing Gameware Volume 5 will get you a Sakura Wars trading card. The application deadline for the campaign is July 31, 1997. This page is all about Quiz Rainbow Dreams, Rainbow Town Miracle, a romance-adventure quiz game from Capcom hitting both PlayStation and SEGA Saturn. Coming out on June 27, 1997, and priced at 5,800 yen, it's described as a love-adventure game where you answer quizzes to win over girls. The game promises a story that mixes sci-fi and magic with a pure love theme, and your choices influence how things play out. Apparently, it's based on a popular arcade game and packs in a whopping 6,000 quiz questions. We get to see 4 of the main girls who you can romance: Morisawa Megumi, Shiosaki Kumiko, Fujikura Momoko, and Sokane Saki. And they've even listed their ages and vital stats, which is pretty standard for these types of games. It looks like a lighthearted and quirky quiz adventure to try and charm these anime girls. This page focuses on the lovely ladies from Quiz Rainbow Dreams, Rainbow Town Miracle, the romance quiz game we talked about on the last page. We get a good look at 4 of the main girls you can try to win over: Kobato Mayumi, a mature 25-year-old, the younger Charlotte at just 12, Sakura Emi, who's 23, and even a mysterious fairy character. They've all got their age and vital stats listed for those interested. Interestingly, there's also mention of a Megumi Dream Pillow, a special jumbo hug pillow featuring Morisawa Megumi, one of the girls. It seems Capcom is running a competition where 100 lucky people who buy the game can win one of these pillows, which is a pretty cool bonus for fans. Down at the bottom we see some screenshots from Quiz Rainbow Dreams, giving us a glimpse of the game's scenes and dialogue. It definitely looks like a charming and lighthearted adventure, just as described before. Perfect for anyone wanting to test their quiz skills and maybe win the heart of one of these anime girls. This page is all about the legendary Macross. Looks like they are celebrating the 15th anniversary of the series with a new SEGA Saturn game, Macross. Do you remember love? The advert emphasizes the romantic side of Macross, calling it a love song that transcends 500,000 years of history. It talks about the Minmay song and the emotional impact, saying this interactive movie will finally be released. It's a horizontal scrolling shooting game for one player, and it's coming on 2 Kree-droms, priced at 6,800 yen. We can see some gameplay screenshots, which look pretty faithful to the anime. Down at the bottom, there's an advert for Sakura Taisen Hanagumi Video Promenade, a video release. It's described as featuring uncompressed anime parts that were used in the game, promising a permanent preservation edition. The first volume includes Sakura, Maria, and Kukuran, plus voice actor interviews, while the second volume features Sumair, Iris, and Kana, also with voice actor interviews. It's coming out on both video and Laserdisc, so something for everyone there. The next page spotlights Wily Wombat, showing off this cool-looking character in a shadowed city setting. The text is a bit cryptic, but it seems to say, "Somewhere this looming is the stage, I last endy," which sounds like a dramatic tagline for the game's story or location. It's also advertised as on sale for 6,800 yen, and it's from Hudson Soft. This page continues the focus on Willy Wombat. The artwork really highlights the main character in a cool, shadowy city at night under a full moon. The tagline is, "Somewhere under this moonlight is the Eden that I search," which definitely sets a dramatic mood. This Hudson Soft title for the Sega Saturn is advertised as on sale from June 27th, priced at 5,800 yen. You can also see the Hudson Soft branding and Sega Saturn logos. And there's another character featured at the bottom of the page, possibly an antagonist. This page is dedicated to PTO2i Path to Victory, which is advertised as a WW2 game, and the latest in the Super Dreadnought War SLG series. The page is packed with images of powerful battleships and fighter planes, really setting the scene for intense naval warfare. There are screenshots showing in-game action and strategic maps, which hint at the game's simulation aspects. We can also see images of distinguished-looking naval commanders. The top of the page boldly proclaims, "Wars LG is now entering a new era," highlighting the game's ambition. It's priced at 9,800 yen, and boasts being on sale today. Interestingly, there's also a mention of PTO2, which is described as the second game in the Super Dreadnought War SLG series, priced slightly higher at 10,800 yen, and is also advertised as selling well. It seems Koei is really pushing their naval strategy games on the Sega Saturn. This page highlights Angelique Special 2, a neo-romance game from Koei. The main header asks the player to choose between love life or queen, emphasizing the game's blend of romance and queenly duties. It's touted as the next stage in the series, promising enhanced gameplay with new, charming characters, deeper personality traits, and richer romantic possibilities. We get a peek at the character cast and their voice actors, and some in-game screenshots. It looks like a visually engaging game. There's also an advertisement for the premium box travel set of Angelique Special 2, a limited edition packed with extra goodies and a slightly higher price tag. Besides Angelique Special 2, the page also features smaller ads for other titles. Angelique in Wonderland is presented as a fun variety game based on the Angelique universe, focused on love and adventure, and is priced at 5,800 yen. We also see Dark Hunter, described as a horror fantasy adventure, and Game Japan History, an edutainment title to experience history through games. All these games are advertised as selling well. If you want to know more about Angelique, they've even included their website address. This page showcases Daisenryaku Strong Style for the Sega Saturn. It's a strategy game, and the page has a very military feel with images of soldiers, fighter jets, and tanks. There's a purchaser bonus campaign highlighted where you can win one of 100 copies of Daisenryaku G. To enter, you need to send in a postcard with a 50 yen stamp. The game, Daisenryaku Strong Style, is described as a brand new type of simulation game, planned and supervised by SystemSoft, and incorporating elements from Daisenryaku X. It is mentioned to be easy for beginners with a helpful mode, and it even includes a map editor so you can create your own scenarios. The release date is set for June 27th, with a standard price of 6,800 yen, excluding tax. This page is an advertisement for two games. The main focus is on Umibe de Reach, a SEGA Saturn tile matching game, which is coming out in October and will cost 5,800 yen. The game promises a summer beach setting and features cute anime girls. It seems to be a dating sim combined with mahjong, where you aim to capture the hearts of these girls through tile matching gameplay. The page highlights story mode, free battle mode, and a mahjong classroom feature. The advert also mentions Go 2i Professional Taikyoku Ban for SEGA Saturn, which is being released earlier on August 1st, priced at 6,800 yen. It's described as a further evolved Go game with improved AI, better graphics, and classic BGM to create a comfortable playing environment. Key features include 12 levels of AI strength, 9 and 13 road boards for beginners, 7 BGM classics, and mouse compatibility. This page is all about Lupin the Third Chronicles for the SEGA Saturn. It's coming out on July 25th and will set you back 5,800 yen. This looks like a must-have collection for any Lupin fan, celebrating 30 years of Lupin the Third. They're offering 3 different package variations for the game, and if you snag the first edition, you'll get a special bonus sticker set with 3 stickers. Plus, there's a lottery going on where you can win some seriously cool Lupin goodies. We're talking original animation cells. Only 200 lucky people will get their hands on those. 500 people can win a set of 3 original postcards, and a whopping 1,000 people will get an original B2 poster. The game itself is packed with content, covering everything Lupin. It's got an opening movie section, a sound collection, a Lupin library, a manic quiz, a comic data show, and an ending movie section. It sounds like they've pulled together a bunch of classic anime footage and digital animation to create this ultimate Lupin experience. They are calling it a definitive software version of Lupin the Third. This page showcases Nightruth Explanation of the Paranormal, subtitled Only Two Truths. It looks like a supernatural mystery adventure game for the SEGA Saturn, set to release in late July for 5,800 yen. The game centers around investigating paranormal events and confronting evil shadows lurking in people's hearts. The text hints at 5 high school students solving various mysteries, and now they face their greatest challenge yet. The tagline suggests that 5 forms of love are the key to saving hearts consumed by darkness. There are 3 small screenshots offering a glimpse of the gameplay, and the main image features an anime-style girl in a school uniform wielding a sword and striking a peace sign pose. The page also highlights a luxurious voice cast, listing names like Mika Kanai, Tomomi Mochizuki, Emi Shinohara, and Akiko Hiramatsu, among others. The bottom section provides website details for Sonnet and Layup, the developers and publishers. This page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Academy, encouraging student enrollment for the year 1998. It promotes itself as a place where you can easily gain official qualifications in creative fields due to its free-spirited approach to education. They boast a very high placement rate of over 95% for graduates. The academy is highlighting its specialized curriculum, designed to prepare students for the future, equipped with advanced technology. They also mention a special scholarship system. Notably, they've expanded their Osaka campus to include new animation and game-related departments. They are offering a free 1-day trial enrollment program and a Charisma Map computer aptitude test to assess artistic suitability. The advert lists various departments available at the academy, ranging from animator and CG animation/game design to voice acting and manga creation. For those interested, they are holding school information sessions at various locations and dates across Japan, and they are also conducting nationwide free auditions to discover new voice acting and entertainment talent. The ad concludes with contact details for applications by phone or fax and emphasizes a 99% debut/production affiliation rate for their students. This advertisement focuses on the SEGA Saturn release of Langrisser IV. It highlights the game's arrival and introduces Rachel, a character described as Ricky's sister with hidden magical abilities. The ad details 2 package options: a special first edition for 6,800 yen, which includes pin badges and a fan book, and a regular package for 5,800 yen. It emphasizes the game's strategic gameplay, improved 2D battle scenes, and the judgment power mechanic. The game features character designs by Urushihara Satoshi and a cast of 30 voice actors. There's a pre-order campaign offering Langrisser 2 pin badges as a bonus. The ad concludes with a pre-order application form for the Langrisser campaign, and details a cool pad present campaign. This page is the front cover of SEGA Magazine, showcasing Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles prominently. The main feature is about the Sonic story, delving into behind-the-scenes stories from the development team. There's also a special feature titled The Road to Sega Ages, which seems to be a historical look at Sega arcade games, specifically mentioning Outrunners from 1993. Kuk-chan's Sega Village Guide is another highlighted section, focusing on touring of Sega Village, regarding new games and continued coverage. The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Dynamite Baseball 97, and Virtua Striker 2 are listed. Also mentioned is a Saturn Express special, covering Mr. Bones and Last Bronx. The magazine is advertised as being on sale now from July 8th, and mentions it's a combined July/August issue. The price is 300 yen, and it's scheduled to be released every 13th of the month. Upcoming game guides include several titles across various platforms. Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 1, The Blue Destiny, a 496 pages, 1,600 yen, focuses on the Sega Saturn 3D shooter, with character and mobile suit information and original artwork. The Martian Successor Nadesico Perfect Guide, B5, 112 pages, 1,000 yen, offers game guidance. New Theme Park Perfect Guide, a 128 pages, 1,000 yen, aids in creating amusement parks on Sega Saturn and PlayStation. Neon Genesis Evangelion Second Impression Bible, a 596 pages, has a large print run. Advanced World War, 1,000-Year Empire's Demise Official Guide, B5, 256 pages, 1,500 yen, is a strategy guide. Additional guides, including those for racing, fighting, and other genres, are also planned for release between June and August. This page features advertisements for several Sakura Wars publications. A Sakura Wars activity photo book is coming soon, a 144-page B5-sized book priced at 1,200 yen that captures memorable scenes. Sakura Wars Imperial Assault Secret File, a Kaidram product, 1,437 yen, on sale now, includes character and mecha setting materials and unreleased CG, playable on various platforms. The Sakura Wars Original Art and Setting Material Collection, 1,942 yen, on sale now, is a comprehensive art book featuring lavish pictures, setting materials, staff interviews, and bonus items like a poster and papercraft. Lastly, the Flower Division Columns Official Guide, 933 yen, on sale now, offers gameplay guides, character information, and hidden techniques for both beginner and advanced players. This page is the contents page of SEGA Saturn Magazine, Volume 23, from July 11th, 1997. The first feature on page 120 is titled Game De-Healing, which explores the idea of games providing healing and new possibilities beyond just play. Page 38 is a special report section highlighting several games. These include Sonic R and Sonic Jam, Sega Touring Car Championship, Super Robot Wars, F, Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Last Bronx, Street Fighter Collection, Real Sound, Kai's No Regret, Slayers Royal, and Chaos Seed. The NEC Interchannel Special on page 105 focuses on beautiful girls in Saturn games, mentioning titles like Dukusei 2, Sentimental Graffiti, Graduation S, Dragon Knight 4, and Magical Princess Pretty Sammy. Finally, page 197 is titled Summer, Saturn, Summer Big Present, which is likely a summer prize giveaway section. This page highlights various Sega Saturn games and content. SEGA Saturn Press previews new releases like National Uniform Beautiful Girl Grand Prix File and Kamen Rider Strategy File 1, along with upcoming titles such as Langrisser IV and Runna Lunar Silver Star Story MPEG version. The SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide offers strategies for released games like Harukaze Sentai V-Force and Marika, The World of Truth. Bones is teased as a special project. AM3 Research Rush focuses on the development of Virtualon Over. A special appendix features Real Sound, Kaze No Regret, A game index provides a quick reference for a wide selection of games, including Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, Sonic R, and Street Fighter Collection. The content also lists regular features, with topics ranging from game news and reviews to game development insights. The second Japan Game Awards of 1997 invites readers to vote for their favorite games released between April 1996 and March 1997. The awards, recognizing excellence in entertainment software, feature categories like Grand Prix and special prizes for various aspects of game design. A total of 120 games were nominated, with 40 listed here for voting. These include diverse titles across platforms like PlayStation, Saturn, Super Famicom, Nintendo 64, and PCFX. Some notable nominees include Arc the Lad 2, Intelligent Cube, Wave Race 64, and Crash Bandicoot. Voters could win prizes such as a Sony IC recorder, a Casio digital camera printer, and a Pioneer DVD player. The awards are a collaborative effort by 18 game magazines, celebrating the best games of the year. This page continues the list of nominees for the Japan Game of the Year Awards. It's titled Nominated Works and lists games numbered 41 to 120. The list includes titles across various platforms, like Nintendo 64, Super Famicom, PlayStation, SEGA Saturn, and PCFX. Notable games in this section include Super Mario 64, Super Donkey Kong 3, Star Ocean, Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Soul Edge, Soul Blade, Digital Dance Mix, Nights into Dreams, Virtua Cop 2, Virtua Fighter Kids, Pilot Wings 64, Battle Arena Toshinden Yura, Parappa the Rapper, Fighting Vipers, Final Fantasy V2, and Princess Maker, Yuma Miro Kogumi. The page also shows a sample voting form and some logos of gaming magazines involved in the awards, including PlayStation Magazine and SEGA Saturn Magazine itself, alongside Dengeki PlayStation, Famitsu, and others. It highlights voting instructions and prize details as mentioned in the previous page, like the Grand Prix Award allowing for 2 game choices, and other awards like Fresh, Visual, and Sound allowing 1 choice each. This page is titled Landmark SEGA Saturn Magazine News and Information, and dives into some exciting happenings. First up is a report from E3 in Atlanta, dubbed E3 Ultra Express Report. It highlights the event held from June 19th to 21 Stone, where Sega's booth caused a stir with a massive Sonic display. They announced new Sega Saturn titles like Touring Car Championship and The Lost World, Jurassic Park, both highly anticipated. Next, the page covers Tokyo Joytopolis, Sonic is Coming, detailing a Sega Saturn Festa event at Tokyo Joytopolis. This event, which seems to be a regular Sega Saturn Day on the third Sunday, featured Sonic characters, a Sonic fashion show, and gaming competitions for couples and siblings. They also introduced a Sega Saturn Festa in Joyopolis point card system. It sounds like it was a fun and lively event with Sonic merchandise and fan service galore. They mentioned the upcoming release of Sonic Jam on June 20th, which was showcased at the event. Lastly, there's a section on a unique Best Couple Test wedding event in June, specifically on June 14th at Namco Wonder Egg. Apparently, Namco and Wonder Egg hosted a wedding judge compatibility test where couples could participate. Winning couples of the Ideal Couple contest even got to experience a mock wedding ceremony, complete with vows and ring exchange in front of guests. This seems to be a fun and unique attraction testing couple compatibility in a playful wedding setting. This page previews a variety of entertainment news. The 6th Next Generation World Hobby Fair showcased Sega games like Sonic Jam and Mr. Bones, alongside popular attractions. Yomiuri Land Luna Park celebrates its 7th anniversary with special events. A visual novel, You Too Can Become a Serio High School Student, by NEC Interchannel, is also highlighted, emphasizing its realism. The article previews the voice recording for the movie Jungle Emperor, featuring voice actors like Mayumi Izuka and Akiko Hiramatsu. More and More Sentimental Graffiti details the success of voice actresses turned singers, with upcoming events, a concert, and a fan club launch in July. Lastly, the page lists 4 music single releases: Kanai Wake Up to the Stars, Don't Sleep, Nakayama Miho's Groovin' Blue, Matsu Takako's Mirror of the Sky, and Akiko's Kiss of Life, each with a brief description. This landmark feature profiles singer and voice actress Maiko Matsumiya, discussing her interests and career. Maiko, 19, debuted at 16 and is known for her single tune-up Generation, the ending theme for Bakusu Kyudai Let's Go, WGP Hyperheat. She enjoys puzzle games and game music, which she finds impressive. She's visited a game studio and admires the collaborative effort. Maiko describes herself as clumsy and is interested in acting in movies. She hopes to explore various activities beyond singing, including writing lyrics, columns for a student newspaper, and exploring confectionery making. The feature, Volume 5 target of Saturn users, likely targets SEGA Saturn fans, highlighting her music and connection to the game. This page showcases the top 15 best-selling SEGA Saturn games. Number 1 is Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love?, which seems to be popular even with people who don't know the original work, suggesting its appeal is broad. Second place is Dokusei, Classmates, a romance simulation game recommended for adults. Third is Great Naval Battles 2, a strategy game where you command battleships, emphasizing the 3D CG data and appealing to enthusiasts. Professional Baseball Greatest 997 is fourth, noted for its player development and long-lasting appeal. Game Tengoku is fifth, a shooter praised for its time attack mode. Further down the list, at sixth, is Neon Genesis Evangelion, new package, highlighting the first unit and world versions, suggesting collectible figures are a draw. The Convening 2 is seventh, focusing on store management strategy. Eighth is Martian Successor Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Days, a game apparently about dating and romance in space. Eberouge is ninth, described as a noise adventure game, perhaps emphasizing sound and atmosphere. 10th is Neon Genesis Evangelion Second Impression, a movie tie-in with UCC Coffee featuring EVA metal badges. Fighters Megamix is 11th, followed by Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Togue King the Spirits 2, Deluxe Life Game, and Virtual On rounding out the top 15. The comments throughout the page indicate the reviewer's perspective on each game's genre, target audience, and key features, providing a snapshot of the Sega Saturn gaming landscape at the time. This page highlights 2 top lists related to Sega Saturn games and arcade titles. The User Data Top 20 reveals user desires for Saturn ports, with Vampire Savior, The House of the Dead, and Neon Genesis Evangelion topping the list. There's speculation about announcements based on E3 news, with Vampire Savior and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter potentially leading to further Japanese announcements. Realization percentages are assigned to some titles. The Shop Data Top 15 showcases popular arcade games. Virtua Fighter 3 leads, followed by Tekken 3 and Vampire Savior. The section highlights Virtua Fighter 3, praising its graphics, gameplay, and impact damage, and Street Fighter X Plus for its appeal to 3D fighting game fans and characters. This page showcases the User Data Top 30, highlighting the most anticipated upcoming Sega Saturn games as voted by readers. Topping the charts at number 1 is Grandia, an RPG garnering 400 points. It seems highly anticipated, and they mention a playable demo is available. Following closely behind in second place is Super Robot Wars FIC, with 367 points and a 60% completion rate. They're showing off new in-game screenshots for this one. Rounding out the top 3 is Doki Doki Pretty League 2, scoring 298 points, and impressively, it's already 100% complete, suggesting a release is imminent. The Pickup Check Games section shines a spotlight on Sonic R, currently a tentative title, marked as coming soon. Interestingly, they mention it was initially conceived as an action game but has morphed into a racing game. It's still early in development at 20% completion. The bottom of the list, in 30th place, we find Sega Touring Car Championship. They emphasize the realistic driving experience it aims to deliver. The rest of the top 30, from rank 4 down to 30, features a diverse range of titles, including Virtua Fighter 3, Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Panzer Dragoon RPG, Lunar, Eternal Blue, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, amongst many others. Finally, there's an Other Check, Coming Soon section which again highlights both Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, and Panzer Dragoon RPG, further emphasizing their anticipation. The weekly Sega Saturn Readers Race. Volume 58, presents a popularity poll of SEGA Saturn games based on reader votes. The ranking table includes rank, previous rank, game title, genre, and an average score out of 10. Scarlet Red Armor Team leads the rankings, followed by Sakura Wars and Eve Burst Error. Game Paradise Heaven surprisingly jumped to 4th place. Readers rate games on a 10-point scale, and the average scores are published. Comments are invited for potential use in future articles. The deadline for votes was July 3rd. The page highlights the significant rise of Game Paradise Heaven, while the top 3 games remain unchanged. The article expresses excitement over the evolving rankings and the readers' opinions, including small, unidentifiable screenshots. The overall tone reflects enthusiasm for the poll's dynamic nature. This SEGA Saturn page features game reviews from the SEGA Saturn Readers' Race, alongside updated rankings. Game Paradise Heaven is praised for its quality shooting gameplay, especially its time attack mode. Chojiku Yusai Macross, I Oboete Imasu Ka, impresses with its graphics, sound, and faithful recreation of the Macross universe. Talk Studio. Marinoki Mama no Oshaberi, a DJ simulation, offers a unique dialogue system. In contrast, Gyakuten Dangan receives criticism for its dated graphics, loading times, and overall lack of polish. An odds-ranking B table provides ongoing reader poll scores, showcasing game rankings by genre and average score. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Readers' Race rankings, now focusing on the odds-ranking Saturn Cs. It seems like the B ranking from the previous page saw some big shifts, with the reviewer noting that Command & Conquer was a rare game actually climbing the charts while most others were falling. They specifically point out the considerable drop of Ever Blue in the rankings. Moving to the C ranking, it highlights the arrival of Super Puzzle Fighter 2X and D's Earth. The reviewer playfully describes these two as making a Super Hurricane entry into the rankings, suggesting they've made a strong impact. They even humorously wonder if D's Earth's entry signifies Desama's advance. The text then uses a typhoon metaphor, referencing a real typhoon hitting Japan, to describe the volatility and excitement in the rankings. It mentions that Standby Say You might be aiming for the top spot once again, and overall, the ranking battle is heating up intensely, just like the summer season. The page uses this energetic language to convey the dynamic nature of the reader poll and the ongoing competition between games. This page previews upcoming games, including the historically focused Pacific Storm 2 and the mahjong title Dokonju Mahjong Road, praised for its authenticity. Reader feedback includes humorous anecdotes and news of an upcoming reader race revamp. A contest challenges readers to predict the ranking of Sonic Jam, with prizes for correct guesses. Game reviews feature Wara Squared Wars, receiving a mixed 4.0 score for its identity crisis, and WWF In Your House, scoring a 4.33 and lauded for its enjoyment and wrestler portrayals. A chart ranks SEGA Saturn peripherals, with the V-Saturn Joystick Pro leading. Finally, a giveaway offers prizes, including hardware sets and games, requiring postcard entries with game ratings, contest predictions, and desired games. This page focuses on the exciting reveal of the new Sonic title, Sonic R. After a sneak peek at the Tokyo Game Show in April, the full picture is now clear. The R stands for Race. This isn't just any Sonic game, it's a racing action title, featuring the Sonic family of characters. The article highlights that Sonic R is planned for release towards the end of 1997 by SEGA, although the price is still to be determined. It's confirmed to be a racing action game with multi-controller support, perfect for playing with friends. There's also a mention of Project Sonic as the second wave, suggesting further Sonic developments are on the horizon. An express report from the American E3 show teases even more features, including 4-player simultaneous play and tag play, with control details to be revealed in the upcoming E3 report. It seems like Sonic Star is shaping up to be a fun and competitive racer for the SEGA Saturn. This page dives deeper into Sonic Star, elaborating on the game's courses and gameplay. The article points out that Sonic Star's courses are not simple straight paths, but feature diverse routes, offering exploration and strategic depth. The thrill of speeding through open fields and the strategic element of course navigation are highlighted as key enjoyable aspects. The article mentions that each course has routes advantageous to specific characters, encouraging players to discover the optimal paths for each racer. The page emphasizes the variety in course design, noting the inclusion of Sonic staples like 360-degree loops, rings, and various items. It mentions that some routes might be inaccessible without collecting enough rings, adding a layer of challenge. The courses leverage each character's unique abilities, suggesting strategies such as using Amy's car for water shortcuts and Sonic's spin dash for acceleration. The reviewer notes that these elements are prominently displayed in the current build of the game. Furthermore, the article hints at hidden characters and secrets within the courses, describing them as abundant. It mentions the presence of super emeralds and hidden characters, suggesting plentiful discoveries to be made during gameplay. The article concludes by expressing excitement for the fast-paced chase gameplay and the hidden elements, making it sound like a fun and engaging experience. This page introduces the playable characters and a message from Sonic Team regarding Sonic R. Mr. Nakayuji of Sonic Team introduces the game, developed by Traveler's Tales, as an action racing adventure, blending Sonic speed with racing elements, with a distinct British atmosphere. He also hints at Project Sonic and seeks fan support. The character introductions begin with Sonic, emphasizing his speed and spin dash. Tails is presented as the fastest flyer, Knuckles as a balanced character with gliding and climbing abilities, Amy Rose as the only girl character in a car, and Dr. Eggman in his Eggmobile with high offensive power. The page teases hidden characters, with Metal Sonic specifically mentioned as a likely powerful rival, promising exciting discoveries upon the game's release. This page focuses on Sonic and Knuckles within the Sonic Jam collection, presented as the final guide in a series. It heavily promotes the lock-on system, enabling players to combine Sonic and Knuckles with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the complete story experience. Although Sonic and Knuckles is playable standalone, the guide highlights Knuckles as a new playable character, emphasizing his strength and unique abilities like gliding and wall climbing, showcased with screenshots. Players can access new areas via these moves and discover secret routes. Special stages like the slot machine stage and rolling jump stage are also detailed. The data section reveals the game's development timeline following Sonic 3's Japanese release, focusing on the lock-on system. The Sonic and Knuckles episode section mentions a Dragon Ball-inspired element, contributing to the game's design. This guide focuses on Sonic and Knuckles and its innovative lock-on system, allowing players to combine it with Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Combining with Sonic 1 unlocks a special stage, while attaching it to Sonic 2 lets you play as Knuckles. The guide provides level-specific strategies for Sonic and Knuckles, including advice for Mushroom Hill Zone's height differences, Flying Battery Zone's traps, Sandopolis Zone's tricks, and Lava Reef Zone's fire hazards. A dedicated Knuckles strategy transmission highlights his unique climbing and gliding abilities, encouraging players to explore hidden routes and adapt boss strategies. The lock-on features are revisited, and wall climbing techniques are emphasized, particularly in Angel Island and Hydro City zones. This page details secrets and strategies for playing as Knuckles in Sonic and Knuckles, including gameplay differences compared to Sonic. The Sonic Check sections highlight Hypersonic, the ultimate form achieved by collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and speculate on next-generation Sonic and the future of the series. Specific zone strategies for Knuckles are outlined. Hidden Palace is Knuckles' home, featuring Eggman's theft of the Master Emerald. Sky Sanctuary is Knuckles' final zone, with a battle against a powered-up Mecha Sonic. Death Egg, exclusive to Sonic and Tails, concludes with the giant Death Egg robot boss fight. Other zones like Marble Garden, Carnival Night, Ice Cap, and Launch Base are briefly discussed, emphasizing the adjustments in level design and difficulty for Knuckles' gameplay. The importance of collecting the Chaos Emeralds to achieve Super and Hyper Sonic is emphasized. The page concludes with a tease of future Sonic games. Quote, "This page showcases Sega Touring Car Championship for the Saturn. The headline screams about the Saturn version finally moving out, implying it's a significant announcement for fans. It's a special report, revealing that the game made its debut at E3. While still early in development, at about 30% overall completion, the core arcade porting is already halfway done. Importantly, the Saturn version is being handled by AM Annex, the same team that created the arcade hit, making it a title to watch. The page highlights that it's a racing game, planned for release in the autumn, with 12 player modes and suitable for all ages. though the price is still to be determined. The page is really pushing the excitement for this Saturn conversion of the popular arcade racer. This review focuses on the SEGA Saturn port of SEGA Touring Car Championship. Check one marvels at the graphics, particularly the detail achieved despite the game's incomplete state, with the Saturn version visually nearing the arcade experience. Check 2 covers game modes. Arcade side replicates the arcade version's modes. Saturn side offers unique content, inspired by Sega Rally and Daytona Circuit E, with time attack and car setting options. The review then details 4 featured cars: the AMG Mercedes class, Alfa Romeo 155 V6 Thai, Opel Calibra V6, and Toyota Supra GT. Each car has a spec section with engine details and an impression section offering driving feel insights, such as the Mercedes' easy handling and the Supra's tricky father dynamics. The reviewer provides practical driving advice for each vehicle. SEGA Touring Car Championship on Saturn features an arcade side mode mirroring the arcade experience. Players begin at the title screen, then navigate through mode selection, championship, expert, etc., and car/mission choices. The game then progresses through a qualifying lap on the country circuit, determining the starting grid for the main race. The race itself, also on country circuit, involves a rolling start with 6 cars. An interview with producer Mr. Takabe reveals the game is approximately 70% complete in terms of visuals for the arcade championship mode. The goal is a faithful arcade port. A unique Saturn side mode is in development, potentially with beginner-friendly adjustments. Takabe aims for a system that remembers player preference and hints at future content additions. The SEGA Saturn version of SEGA Touring Car Championship features 2 courses: Grunweight Circuit, a high-speed mountain track, and Brick Wall Town, a technical cityscape course. Pit stops and tire changes are faithfully recreated from the arcade, though not typically used. Players can enter their names after winning the championship, and the final results screen mirrors the arcade, displaying name, car, mission, and time. In an interview, developer Takabe discusses the focus on pad controls for accessible gameplay, aiming for digital steering and acceleration. The Saturn version runs at 30 FPS, with a goal of 60 FPS. Visuals and texture colors are being improved to match the arcade. Sound is directly ported from the arcade CD. The game is progressing well, with an autumn release targeted, and player feedback is welcomed. This page is packed with new screenshots for Super Robot Wars Final Chapter. Published by Banpresto, this simulation game is slated for release on August 29th for 6,800 yen, and is for 1 player of all ages. The page highlights that the game's early stages are becoming clearer, and hints at the prologue's development. It seems to be similar to the Fourth War in some aspects, with meteorites and alien appearances, but with differences in starting locations and alien types. The developers aim to make it feel both familiar and different, not just a simple repeat of the Fourth War storyline. Screenshots showcase gameplay with Shu unleashing the black hole cluster attack, and strategic map screens, where map weapons are powerful from the beginning. There's also a look at the unit info screen for EVA Unit 00, noting the improved graphics. Another shot shows Judao with the Fulbernian, emphasizing that it's available from the start, along with characters like Kudaraki. The page suggests the story begins with real robot scenarios, right from the first episode. Dialogue snippets feature conversations hinting at plot developments, with exchanges between Bright and Amuro, and Daya pointing out subtle differences in this iteration. It also teases the inclusion of Elgaim characters, and Kyayo joining the battles this time around. The page concludes by mentioning that facial graphics have been continuously improved since the game's initial announcement. This page highlights the exciting combat screens from Super Robot Wars Final Chapter, emphasizing the visually stunning battles and over-the-top special moves characteristic of the Super Robot genre. Featured series include Invincible Steelman Daytarn 3, Daytarn 3S, Sun Attack, Mazinger Z, Mazinkaiser's Fire Blaster, Great Mazinger, Great Typhoon, Getter Robo, Getter 1's Shine Spark, Space Runaway Ideon, Mobile Fighter G Gundam, God Gundam's Burning Finger, Gunbuster, Buster Beam, and Brave Raideen. Each entry showcases the signature attacks and iconic pilots from these classic mecha anime. The game design emphasizes powerful, close-range combat, and the unit animations are newly drawn for this installment. This Super Robot Wars F Reader Submission Corner. So many things we want to ask. This week, the Lucky section is expanded. Covers various fan interests. The Spirit section discusses interactions between adult characters, like Zex, and heroes from Gundam Wing. The Hot-Blooded section praises Gunbuster's Super Inazuma kick, with reader excitement and poems about Gundam and Gunbuster. The Powerless section ponders Mazinkaiser's beam attacks against AT fields, hinting at Evangelion crossovers, and clarifies the game's original Mazinkaiser theme music. The Lucky section delves into the specific lines of Gunbuster's ultimate move and graphical weapon updates. Finally, it answers reader questions about character hobbies. ILM criticizes women, Grace daydreams of love, and Mina reads mystery novels. The page concludes with a call for reader submissions. This page unveils the upcoming Panzer Dragoon RPG, which will be known as Panzer Dragoon Saga internationally, proclaiming that the Grand Panzer world is now revealing its secrets. The text introduces a Kunzel and the Adelcombe dragon, positioned as key figures in this installment. It describes a Jazel as appearing as Edge's nemesis, and the Atom Dragon as the ultimate biological weapon, shrouded in mystery like ancient enigmas. The article mentions the Empire, a familiar antagonist throughout the Panzer Dragoon series, and introduces a rebellion army commanded by Kramen's elite force. It suggests that the ambitions of these two major powers, standing in Edge's way, will soon be brought to light. The bottom details mention it is a Sega title, planned for release in autumn, with the price to be determined, confirming it is an RPG, supporting the multi-controller, and is for one player. A special reports section hints at the game's progress, showing a completion percentage gauge. This article previews Azel, Panzer Dragoon Saga, focusing on the conflict between the technologically superior Empire and Kramen's rebellion. Edge, a young man seeking revenge for the loss of his family, is caught in the middle after encountering a powerful dragon. The Empire, presented as both powerful and ambitious, faces opposition from Kramen's forces, comprised of former Empire soldiers. The article provides historical context, outlining the Empire's progression through 4 key eras: prosperity, territory expansion, collapse, and revival. Screenshots from previous Panzer Dragoon games illustrate these periods, revealing the Empire's rise and fall, driven by military expansion and the secrets of a powerful tower. Understanding this history is crucial to comprehending the world and narrative of Azel. This page continues the Panzer Dragoon Saga preview and introduces us to the mysterious girl, Agazel, who is also riding a holy dragon. It seems a giant dragon, ridden by Azel, the Atom Dragon, appears and is significantly larger than Edge's dragon, around 5 times bigger. We learn more about the anti-Empire rebellion led by Kramen, who are the opposing force to Edge. They are made up of former Imperial Special Forces and use ancient technologies, posing a significant threat. The article introduces Azel, a girl of unknown age who Edge encounters. She's being pursued, and her connection to her dragon, and to Edge himself, are mysteries that will be revealed as the story progresses. We also meet 2 members of Kramen's forces: Arwen, a 39-year-old staff officer and strategist, and Suasta Abba, a 30-year-old assault captain. Suasta Abba is a direct subordinate of Kramen and a rival that Edge will face multiple times. The article delves into the motivations of Kramen's rebellion. They were once elite members of the Empire, but became disillusioned, possibly due to Kramen's wife's death and disagreements with Imperial ideology and wealth distribution. Their primary goal is to understand and control the power of a Kozul and the Atom Dragon, seeing them as powerful weapons. This article previews Panzer Dragoon Saga, focusing on the opening CG movie and gameplay details. The opening movie, around 8 minutes long, is praised for its high-quality visuals, particularly the realistic textures. The story summary highlights Edge's struggle against Kramen's rebellion. Edge meets his companions, trying to understand Kramen's motives. Strange, aggressive creatures appear in the ruins. During a battle, Edge is wounded and falls deeper into the ruins, where he sees the face of a young girl, likely a Hazel, triggering a shift in fate. The article also introduces Imperial weapons, including the battleship Valkyria and the aircraft Jinku, created using ancient technology. The Empire possesses numerous warships, aircraft, and powerful ancient weapons, including super dreadnought battleships, promising a significant challenge for Edge. This page covers an interview with the development staff of Ashizel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, which is Panzer Dragoon Saga in the West, focusing on the game's movie sequences and voice acting. The interviewer asks about the progress, and they state development is going well and a playable sample will be ready soon. The voice acting is being carefully considered, and they are aiming for mature voice actors, not the typical anime style, and will be in Japanese. They discuss the extensive use of movies in the game, not just for the opening and ending, but also interspersed throughout the gameplay to enhance the story. The team emphasizes that character animation and acting are a major focus for these movie scenes, using motion capture to achieve realistic movements for the characters. The interview touches on dragons, confirming they will appear in the game and will be encountered as enemies. The story aims to delve into the mysteries surrounding dragons and the reasons behind the fall of the old world. The interviewer notes their anticipation for the RPG elements and the depth of the storyline. They conclude by saying the game will be unlike any other RPG and encourages players to look forward to it. Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, a 3D dungeon RPG for the Saturn, celebrates the series' 10th anniversary. Slated for a November release at 6,800 yen, 2 candelas set, and suitable for all ages, the game features a relatable, 18-year-old protagonist skilled in net hacking, a popular activity in the game's setting. He stumbles upon a program granting access to Paradigm X, a virtual city with a sinister secret. It's designed to collect souls. The game further defines hacking as it relates to the game, distinguishing it from cracking and addressing the perception of hackers, focusing on the theft of information. Screenshots showcase gameplay, featuring dialogue and a first-person perspective in a city environment. Devil Summoner Soul Hackers introduces us to the Spookies, a hacking group in Amami City, a technologically advanced metropolis. Hacking is a popular, if illicit, activity, facilitated by widespread network access. The Spookies, led by a leader with members Six, Lunch, and Yuichi, each have their own specialties. Amajumi City, built and controlled by a company linked to the virtual city Paradigm X, mandates citizen-inoids, but the convenience of the network seems to outweigh surveillance concerns. The protagonist's partner, Hitomi, is a reliable and independent 18-year-old, known for her magical support and her father, who is connected to Professor Azuma from the original Devil Summoner. The game also features returning elements like the Guma Den, now a luxurious cruise ship, and hints at possible familiar characters and messages from the previous game. This page talks about user-friendly system improvements in a game, focusing on a new feature called GUMP, or HandyComp. It's an installable system, allowing for software customization, supposedly enhancing things like preemptive attacks. Interestingly, this GUMP can be used in both 3D dungeons and 2D maps, letting you do things anywhere, which sounds very convenient and avoids needing to return to the surface. Another key improvement is the interruption function. In previous games, saving in 3D dungeons required specific items and save points. Now you can interrupt the game anywhere in a 3D dungeon, which is a big step up for convenience. However, it's noted that the interrupted data is erased when you resume. The core structure of the 3D dungeons remains, but they're designed to be easier to play. A significant new element is the introduction of height differences within the 3D dungeons of the Megami Tensei series. This adds depth to exploration and makes it more engaging. Even traps have been revamped, focusing on player stress rather than just being punitive, and the visuals are also improved. This height difference concept even extends to the 2D fields, like city maps such as Tenkai City Akanedai, making them more than just flat spaces, and adding a new layer of exploration to those areas as well. Devil Summoner Soul Hackers features demons as autonomous companions whose loyalty impacts their battle performance. A new Vision Quest system allows players to experience the story from other characters' perspectives, influencing the main narrative. The game explores the dangers of a networked society and information overload. Developers highlight improved graphics, including true motion movie scenes and polygon-based cutscenes, particularly for fusion sequences. The characters are bad boys of the near future, embodying a smart and cool aesthetic, while demon designs draw from folk beliefs, urban legends, and Native American mythology. The developers promise new systems and presentations, encouraging anticipation for the game. This page is dedicated to Last Bronx, a brand new 3D fighting game for the SEGA Saturn that's really pushing animation to the forefront. The text emphasizes that it's born from animation and questions the idea that 3D fighting game openings always have to be CG, implying Last Bronx is going for a more traditional animated style. The article highlights how the game is focusing on character appeal through animation. You can see a montage of screenshots showcasing various characters and in-game action, giving you a good look at the art style. There's a section marked Special Report, which seems to detail the game's development progress, breaking it down into steps. It mentions that the Arcade Perfect port and original elements are both 60% complete, while special features are at 30% completion. Finally, it mentions the game is coming out on July 25th from Sega. It's a fighting game, will cost 6,800 yen, comes on 2 creeds, and is for all ages. This page continues the Last Bronx coverage, focusing on the newly revealed opening movie. The article emphasizes the game's animation, describing the character movements and expressions as being full of life. It mentions that the Saturn version of Last Bronx will feature 2 worlds, likely referring to different gameplay modes or perspectives. The screenshots showcase the diverse cast of characters and some action scenes from the opening movie, highlighting the distinct anime style. There's also a section dedicated to the theme song, Jaggy Love by D Secrets, a 3-woman group whose music is described as danceable and fitting the Lasbro world. Finally, a screenshot of the game in action points out the realism of weapon impacts in the gameplay, suggesting a weighty and impactful fighting experience for players. Last Bronx's visuals boast impressive screen effects, especially after images, enhancing the impact of hits with visual flourishes like blue flashes. The game features detailed, Tokyo-inspired backgrounds, with meticulous attention to floors, walls, and ceilings, and unique indoor stages like a parking garage. An interview with producer Mr. Abe reveals the Saturn version's development progress, focusing on fine-tuning and balancing, including load times and CPU battles. Visual improvements, particularly to after images, are a priority. Stage design emphasizes depth, with realistic elements like pillars in the parking garage. The game's opening animation, chosen over CG, aims to capture the fluid weapon movements and expressive characters essential to Last Bronx's appeal, intending to charm players. Last Bronx for the Saturn offers 7 game modes on Disc 1, including Arcade, Survival, and Time Attack, with a mysterious Saturn mode promised. The package illustration, complete and in anime style, depicts characters with weapons, capturing the game's essence, according to producer Mr. Abe. Disc 2 is a special disc, featuring original elements, like the previously mentioned modes, an anime opening, and 3 unrevealed original modes, designed to appeal to all players. Additional modes, like Saturn Touch Mode and Versus Mode, are hinted at. The tagline aims to reassure new players. Mr. Abe assures players of the arcade port's quality, and encourages those new to fighting games to try Last Bronx. This page announces the upcoming release of Super Street Fighter II and the Street Fighter Collection for the Sega Saturn, slated for August 97. It highlights Super Street Fighter II, stating it will introduce new characters and moves, pushing the 2D fighting genre to its peak. The page also promotes the Street Fighter Collection, mentioning it will include 3 classic titles, presumably to capitalize on the fighting game boom and long-term popularity of the Street Fighter series on the Saturn. It's presented as a must-have compilation for fans, emphasizing the historical significance of these titles. Street Fighter 02 - the 3rd installment, expands upon the Street Fighter Alpha series. This version features 18 playable characters, drawing from across the Street Fighter universe, including characters from Street Fighter II, Final Fight, and the original Street Fighter. Fan favorites like Rose, Nash, Dan, and Sakura are also included, with Akuma as a regular fighter. A major new feature is the original combo system, letting players create custom combos by manually inputting sequences. This allows for strategic use of special moves. The game also integrates elements from Street Fighter Alpha, including Zism and custom combos. Dramatic Battle Mode returns, and the developers hint at even more new content. The game includes costume color variations, and more are hoped for. This page delves into the unique gameplay of Real Sound, Keize no Regret, a game designed to be played without looking at the screen. It highlights how the game cleverly uses directional buttons for choices rather than visual menus. The page details a branching pattern. One example showcasing an awakening scene where the player controlling Hiroshi is woken up by Izumi. There are 2 dialogue choices presented, A and B. Option A has Hiroshi groggily asking, "Huh? What are you saying? This is my house," leading to a humorous exchange about being late for class. Option B has Hiroshi reacting with panic. Huh? What should we do? Let's escape! Which leads to a more dramatic scenario, with talk of enemies outside the door, and a sense of adventure. The page also has Scoop and special report sections, announcing that the release date is near, and that the master version of Real Sound is complete. It's described as an interactive sound drama on 4 quadroms, with a special first-run bonus. The game is scheduled for release on July 18th. Real Sound, Kaze no Regret, features branching gameplay, exemplified by Hiroshi's encounter with Izumi. Choosing to leave her alone leads to feelings of sadness and rejection, while chasing after her unveils a dramatic search and a flashback triggered by bird sounds. Different choices drastically impact the narrative and emotional experience. The page also includes an interview with Kenji Iino, who discusses overcoming struggles during development through positive feedback. He acknowledges potential criticism from core gamers, but highlights the positive reception from Saturn users. Iino emphasizes the game's emotional impact, touching upon themes of relationships and overcoming challenges. He announces Yuko Yano's creation of the theme song for the happy ending. Finally, an ad promotes the game's official homepage, providing information for fans. This page is dedicated to Slayers Royal 2, a 3D RPG for the SEGA Saturn, scheduled for release on July 25th. The page highlights a new adventure where Lena and her companions face a new enemy after Naga, who had previously teamed up with demons, mysteriously vanishes. The text suggests that even though the demon threat seemingly disappeared, new challenges arise, keeping the heroes on their toes. The page emphasizes the game's depth, showcasing character parameters as a key element. It features profiles for Lena, Guri, and Naga, detailing their stats such as HP, MP, attack, defense, hit rate, and intelligence, emphasizing how these numbers reflect their inherent strengths. Screenshots illustrate battles and gameplay, showcasing the in-game action and user interface. The reviewer seems impressed by the level of detail put into character development and the engaging gameplay experience offered in Slayers Royal 2. Slayers Royal 2 features Lena and Guri discussing the ethical gray area of taking money from wrongdoers, and includes the strategic map point Grumstock. Guri, empowered by the village elder, has regained his fighting prowess. A new demon leader, Zod, appears, having kidnapped Linnea, the elder's granddaughter, to steal the time-repeating object. The game's dialogue is praised for capturing the characters' personalities, with familiar banter, like Naga teasing Lena, leading to in-game benefits. The game also includes a user-friendly interface with a glossary and explanations, making it accessible to newcomers. Navigation aids and in-game help, accessible through the Start and Shield buttons, further enhance the experience. This page shines a spotlight on Tenka Seiran, a historical simulation game centered around the life of Tokugawa Ieyasu and the establishment of the Edo shogunate. It's presented as a deep dive into Ieyasu's journey to unify Japan and the 270 years of prosperity that followed. The article highlights how, despite the Sengoku period being a popular setting for strategy games, titles focusing on Ieyasu himself are surprisingly rare. Tenka Seiran aims to fill this gap, allowing players to experience Ieyasu's entire life, including 26 significant battles and numerous historical events, all while striving for historical accuracy. The game is praised for its depth and historical detail, aiming to be a top-tier experience for fans of the genre. We can see screenshots featuring dialogue with historical figures like Imagawa Yoshimoto and Matsudaira Motonobu, hinting at the game's narrative depth. The reviewer seems very impressed, giving it a strong 90% rating and emphasizing the game's comprehensive portrayal of Ieyasu's life and the turbulent era he navigated to bring peace and order to Japan. The next page continues to showcase Tenka Seiran, emphasizing how you can experience the entirety of Tokugawa Ieyasu's life within the game. It highlights that the game begins in Sunpu, the town and castle where Ieyasu spent his youth. Here, you'll navigate the challenges imposed by the Imagawa family, while dreaming of a day of independence. The article explains that the game features 24 scenario branching points, allowing players to diverge from historical events and create alternate histories. You'll be making important decisions that shape your version of Ieyasu's life, and potentially alter the course of history. The page mentions that alongside strategic elements, the game also incorporates RPG-style screens for information gathering and enjoying various events. This is presented as making the game accessible even for players who find strategy games intimidating. It stresses that Tenka Seiran is designed to be an approachable history-based strategy game for newcomers. It further elaborates on the game's depiction of Ieyasu's life through numerous events, reproducing many episodes from his early struggles to his eventual triumph. The real-time battle system is highlighted as a key feature requiring constant attention to unit placement and combat strength. It warns that carelessness can lead to significant losses, emphasizing the challenging yet engaging nature of battles. The spirit and determination of the Mikawa samurai, central to Ieyasu's forces, are also brought up, showing the game focuses on the essence of the era and its key figures. This page dives into Chaos Seed, Feng Shui Geomancy, a dungeon creation simulation RPG for the Saturn. The page acts like a manual, teaching you how to become a cave hermit, which is the goal of the game. It details the game's flow, starting with moving to the underground cave and then focusing on working time within the cave. This work involves constructing rooms and digging passages, using room functions, and recovering energy. After working time, there's a collection time to gather enemy data, confirm various data, reinforce cave rooms, and set traps. This cycle repeats until the land is revitalized. The page then teaches you how to dig caves, which is about room creation. It's described as easy, using button controls to select a wall, bringing up a room creation screen where you decide size and location. You need room points and energy as materials. Finally, it explains the resources needed. Points are essential for creating rooms and passages, consumed based on size. These points are replenished by using energy in dragon veins. Energy is crucial for revitalizing the land and creating new rooms, also consumed based on room size. The room creation point sections seem to be about different room attributes and types, like factors and wind and water, with UN screenshots illustrating room creation menus and options. This guide to Chaos Seed's dungeon building details essential room types. The production room generates energy, vital for dungeon self-sufficiency and expansion. The summoning room calls forth senju, mystical beasts, with stronger rooms summoning rarer and more powerful types. These senju, divided into yin, combat, and yang, special abilities, types, possess diverse abilities like energy transport and combat. The refining pill room creates mystical pills, sendai, used to strengthen rooms and summon, revive senju. The excavation room unearths buried items, the quality of which improves with upgrades and changes over time. The storage room holds equipment, expanding storage capacity and enabling item transfer between scenarios. A caution warns of room destruction by enemies. Examples of senju include Ryuko-sen, energy transport, Kyoku-sen, pill repair, weak combat, and Yoryu-sen, high combat. This page continues detailing the room types in Chaos Seed's dungeon building. It covers 5 room types. The detection room to find enemies, which expands its detection range when strengthened. The transfer room for instant movement within the dungeon, becoming more useful as dungeons grow larger. The attack room to damage intruders with traps. The Dragon Pit, essential for reviving the land, and the Dragon Veins energy, which also restores room points and the protagonist's health. And the Flying Sky Exit, an entrance exit point for enemies using flying sky stones, bypassing normal dungeon entrances. The page highlights that the Saturn version expands the dungeon's field of view and room combination freedom. It mentions there are 24 types of senju in the Saturn version. The developer note explains improvements in attack types and graphics since the Super Famicom version, and emphasizes easier trap creation. The DG Journal Volume 2 section features staff drawings and comments, including from character designers and artists, expressing enthusiasm and love for their work. Reader submissions are included showing player reactions, for example, one player celebrating 100% completion and sending an X-band message. It also announces winners of a prize draw. Finally, a developer staff Q&A reveals that the main character and heroine have no set names, encouraging players to personalize their experience. It also clarifies that scenarios made in previous games cannot be reused, and that in-game illustrations by Mr. Funatos are a surprise for players to enjoy after playing the game. SNK is celebrating the release of Samurai Spirits, Bushido Blade, Bushido Retsuden in Japan, with a message from Umemoto-san and a phone card bonus for early buyers. They've announced winners of the Bushido Mind Articles contest, categorized as Ken Sei, all correct, and Ken Gao, one wrong. Tomoko Kojima, has been selected as the voice actress for Yuki in King of Fighters 97, after a large audition. The Neo Geo Recommendation Corner features Twinker Rinker. SNK World is being revamped, seeking reader submissions for polls, a Helpa section, and a Bushido illustration contest. Piccoloson teases updates to SNK World and hints at future King of Fighters content. This page is all about the new challengers in King of Fighters 97, focusing on the new face team. It's like a character profile volume 1, giving us the scoop on these fresh fighters. First up, we have Shingo Yabuki, who's listed under no team, implying he's a bit of a solo act, or maybe an edit character, which the page does mention he is designed for. He's described as an ordinary high school student who admires Kyo Kusanagi and wants to learn his fighting style. He's got the spirit but not the Kusanagi bloodline, so he can't produce flames, which Kyo finds amusing and teaches him some moves anyway. Then we get introduced to the new face team, which includes Shermie, Yashiro, Nanakase, and Chris. Shermie's profile says she's a band member, along with Yashiro, and they've been causing trouble as a band for about 2 years. Chris is also part of this group. The 97 Team Story Act 1 section is about the main teams. It seems like this year's King of Fighters tournament has some behind-the-scenes drama. It talks about invitations and expectations from the King of Fighters tournament. It mentions Rugal's shadow and hints at something bigger and darker lurking behind the scenes of the competition. It ends with the phrase, "To be continued, the King of Fighters 97. So this is setting up the story for the game's arcade mode, getting players hyped for the new characters and the unfolding plot. This page continues the King of Fighters 97 feature and is packed with action. We're seeing more about the game's modes, starting with Special Edit, likely showing how you can use the new characters. Then there's New Ages Battle, which seems to be showing off intense in-game fights, with characters like Iori Yagami and Ryuji Yamazaki, highlighting the new generation of combat. Single Entry reinforces Shingo Yabuki as a unique character, especially for edit mode, building on his introduction from the last page. Order Select gives us a look at team selection and how you set up your fighter order in team battles. It also details Advanced Mode, based on the King of Fighters 96 style, and Extra Mode, which uses the 94 and 95 system. Finally, there's a section called Are You Ready?, to get players hyped up for the game's release and intense battles. This page dives into the world of digital healing through the internet. The article starts by humorously dismissing fortune tellers and spiritual mediums, setting a skeptical tone. It then explores the phenomenon of online healing services, noting there are a significant number of websites dedicated to this, around 96,814. The writer questions the effectiveness and genuineness of these services, particularly compared to traditional healers or religious figures. The page shows screenshots of various websites related to online healing, such as Pranic Healing and Jilling Healing. It discusses how these online services offer guidance and healing through the internet, sometimes promising to send healing power remotely. The article mentions Uri Geller and his spoonbending as a similar kind of phenomenon, questioning if digital healing is just a modern version of such claims. The article also touches on the business aspect, mentioning that some sites require registration fees, and suggests that the internet is being used as a tool for modern spiritual practices. It concludes with a somewhat cynical observation that these digital healing sites might be a source of comfort and relief for people seeking solutions online, even if their effectiveness is questionable. The next page showcases character designs for Chipot's Island Story, illustrated by Keita Amemiya. It's focused on introducing some of the quirky inhabitants of this world. On the right, we see a detailed illustration of Sol, the island elder, who looks like a wise, snail-like creature with glasses and a walking stick, emphasizing his old age and wisdom. The text describes him as knowledgeable and helpful, but his advice can be hard to understand for ordinary folks. Apparently, he used to roam the island on 2 big legs, but now mostly stays put in a grassy area due to his age. Below this, another character is introduced, Tamu Granny, living in Zagora Forest. She's a tobacco-loving peddler, who's surprisingly young-looking and has a passion for collecting insects. If you bring her bugs, she'll tell you all about them and even turn them into specimens. On the left, under the title, A Word from the Graphic Designers, we get insights from the team. They mention that for Sol, They focused on conveying his elderly nature through subtle, slow movements, using his stick and glasses as visual cues. They also talk about the challenges of positioning characters like Tamu Granny on screen and ensuring they fit well with the backgrounds. The designers seem pleased with how the game visuals are bringing Amiya's artistic style to life, suggesting players should look out for the detailed graphics and unique characters to fully experience his world. This page is an advert for the SEGA Saturn game Classmates 2. It's promoting the release of this visual novel, a follow-up to the original Classmates game, for the SEGA Saturn console. The tagline reads, "I won't forget your warmth," setting a romantic tone. It's clearly highlighted as a SEGA Saturn exclusive title, and is coming as a 2 Candelas room set. The advert gives a release date of July 11th, Friday, and a suggested retail price of 7,900 yen, excluding tax. It mentions that this release includes Graduation, which was originally a side story or spin-off from the PC version of Classmates 2, so it's like getting 2 games in one package here, which is a good deal for fans of these types of games. The artwork uses cherry blossoms, which is a common visual theme in Japanese romance and coming-of-age stories, fitting the genre of Classmates 2. The logos for ELF and NEC Interchannel are also present, confirming the developer and publisher. This page is from the Dream Access Personality Shugasuke section, which is all about reader submissions. In the Games This Week column, we have a few stories. One person writes about buying a Saturn and their dad's reaction, mentioning the game Baroque. Another talks about going to game centers and playing Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA, even mentioning the cost of games and their spending habits. Someone else shared a story about losing a high school baseball game and then playing Greatest 997 afterwards. There's also a funny bit called, "This time's How Is It? Combination Bad? Good?" where readers sent in weird or funny combinations, illustrated with little drawings. Examples include lower grades, crazy designer make ribbon, and train go! More! It's a light-hearted page focused on reader gaming experiences and funny ideas. This page features reader opinions and comics about the SEGA Saturn. A reader from Osaka discusses Grandia's progress, advocating for more TV commercials. They also debate controller preferences, favoring D-pads for some games. Another reader highlights the importance of sound design, mentioning Afterburner for visually impaired players. Someone from Kanagawa discusses using the analog controller for racing games. A reader from Shimane expresses excitement about upcoming 2D shooters. A review praises Sega Ages Afterburner, calling it a thrilling 3D shooting game. Finally, the page includes reader-submitted 4-panel comics on various topics, including drawing, virtual on, programming, and dealing with the summer heat. This page showcases several interesting sections. Starting with some practical advice, there's a wonderful strategy tips segment offering a rice cooking strategy for single people to avoid wasting rice. Moving on to beauty tips, the hair consultation corner humorously advises on drawing characters with appealing hair, contrasting it with real-life hair care advice. Then there's a story section called Industry Undercover Fun Club, a humorous narrative focusing on industry insiders, with characters like MK11 and Shugatsuke, seemingly involved in some kind of lighthearted drama within the games industry. The page then features game previews or reviews. Planning Room Bachan presents Bachan Ronge, described as a long hair care game focusing on shampoo and dryer usage, with a humorous take on hair troubles and achieving silky smooth hair in-game. Another game highlighted is The Lawyer Fire Lawyer, a stage-based adventure game where players become a lawyer who fights using the law itself, promising unusual gameplay. There's a section titled Program Information Deployment, which appears to be a list of names and locations, perhaps contributors or players, involved with something called Program. Finally, the page includes a manga advertisement, Manga Works release King's Ear, and a Sonic the Hedgehog image, perhaps as a mascot or filler image for the magazine. This page of the SEGA Saturn magazine Dream Access DA section highlights fan art and seeks submissions. The Dream Museum features Neon Genesis Evangelion and Groove on Fight, encouraging fan illustrations. Groove on Fight showcases fan art from Mako, Ibaraki, and Yuzuki Seira, Tokyo, praising their artwork. Evangelion This Week, reviewed by Mr. Nakano, notes a scarcity of Evangelion submissions and hopes for more, specifically robot art related to Steel Girlfriend. The Sugatsuke Award goes to Sakai, Hyogo, for Evangelion's Second Impression. Unohama Asato, Saitama, receives praise for their Sonic the Hedgehog illustration, with Takaoka Takahiro, Tokyo, also highlighted for their last Bronx art. Submission guidelines include B5 size paper, black ink, and no peelable corrections. Illustrations and text are welcome for the Sugatsuke and Kanachan corner, with point rewards for features and prizes like Saturn software. The submission address for the SEGA Saturn Magazine Dream Access DA section is also provided. This page showcases the Gamers Collection merchandise, a selection of goods including pins, bandanas, postcards, and letter sets. It seems geared towards fans of popular games. Specifically, they're advertising pins featuring characters from a range of titles like Waku Waku 7 and Samurai Spirits, which are both well-loved fighting games. You can also see they have Psychic Force, The King of Fighters 96, and Eternal Melody pin sets available. Moving on to figurines, they're highlighting 1/8 scale figures of Misumaru Eureka and Hoshino Ruri from the anime Martian successor Nadesico, noting that these are limited edition with initial release pins. And for fans of Geikiganger 3, there's even a t-shirt available. The page also provides ordering details for these items through BCL Gamers Collection, listing their phone and fax numbers for mail orders. The Warp has come to Haneda. Feature profiles game developer Warp and its director, Kenji Ino. The layout includes playful elements. A letter from Yogenki to Ichikawa-kun with enthusiastic, nonsensical phrases, and Ichikawa-kun's weary reply about work. The profile introduces 21-year-old Ryoya Ichikawa, a DJ-turned-homepage creator with a love for curry. A humorous photo series details programmer Sato's 7 changes before Master Up, capturing his increasing exhaustion. A Kenji Ino profile reveals pre-Master Up concerns and encouragement, alongside a cartoon strip about RPGs. The page concludes with SEGA Saturn Magazine's contact details, plus a lighthearted note about a recent Warp meeting and their search for good soba restaurants. This page is an advertisement for the Cyberbots Full Metal Madness MOOC, which is the first in the Saitama MOOC series. It's described as the ultimate strategy guide, born from the same SEGA Saturn Magazine team that brought you the Saturn version of Cyberbots. This book is packed to the brim with content, promising to be an unprecedented and complete guide for the game. The ad highlights that it's been crafted by a 2D fighting game expert writer who dedicated over 3 months to its creation. It boasts comprehensive coverage of both player versus player and player versus CPU battles, ensuring you have all the data you need. Plus, it's loaded with exclusive content directly from Capcom's staff, including brand new illustrations and rare behind-the-scenes materials. They are really pushing the combo aspect, saying the combos are amazing and the MOOC covers absolutely everything, from beginner to advanced techniques. It's aimed at fans and promises to be a must-have, filled with Capcom staff illustrations and secret materials. This, a 5-sized, 160-page MOOC, is priced at 1,500 yen and is available now, apparently selling really well. This page from the CM Detective Agency reviews SEGA Saturn radio commercials, highlighting their reliance on audio and short length. 3 humorous examples are featured. The first, for Sonic Jam, centers on a father's return. Coolpad uses a suggestive dominatrix to sell the product. Mr. Bones features skeletons comically discussing bones and hair loss. The page also advertises other SEGA services. Fukuzawa announces the SEGA JoyJoy telephone service for weekly information and the SEGA Fax Club. SEGA Video Magazine promotes its July issue with game promo videos. Flash SEGA Saturn spotlights Volume 17 of their video magazine, which includes playable demos. Finally, SEGA PC Network 2 notes the availability of monthly Fax Club information online. Contact details and update frequency are provided. This page is a queue and a section with SEGA, addressing fan questions. One user asked if Sonic Jam on Saturn will include the SEGA Sound Like the Mega Drive version, and SEGA confirmed it does, but more as a software header. Another user inquired about expanding genres for the X-Band online service beyond fighting and racing games, as they aren't good at puzzle games like Tetris Attack. SEGA recommended Saturn Bomberman online version and mentioned considering other genres in the future. Someone asked if the Saturn's price will drop further from 20,000 yen, and Sega confirmed a price reduction is coming. Another fan who bought many Sega Freaks, Crids, asked about their content, and Sega thanked them and said they're including more Sega Freaks items. Lastly, a user asked about releasing a Crydrom with Sega commercials, and Sega responded that while TV commercials are usually short-lived, they are considering ways to reuse them, possibly on SEDROM. The page also has a Sega Newsflash section featuring comments from staff. Take-chan shares a funny anecdote about mistaking toothpaste for laundry detergent. Destroyer de Hirano section seems to be humorous self-deprecation and thanking someone. Honey talks about the E3 show and Sonic R, and also announces the Saturn version of Touring Car Championship, hinting at more upcoming title reveals in the magazine. Finally, there is a present giveaway of Sonic Super Balls to 5 lucky readers. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn Soft Databank, a comprehensive listing of Sega Saturn games released between November 1994 and June 1997. It seems to be a reader-sourced review section, offering a snapshot of game quality over time. The page is primarily a detailed table, presenting each game with its release date, title, publisher, price, genre, and importantly, 2 types of scores: reader review score and own review score. This suggests a community rating system alongside the magazine's internal scores. The table is quite extensive, listing games across various genres like action, adventure, RPG, shooting, sports, and puzzle. It's a dense collection of information, acting as a handy reference for Sega Saturn owners wanting to know about the available software and their perceived quality. While there's a lot of data presented here, it's primarily a factual overview of the Sega Saturn game library, as seen through the magazine's lens. This page continues the Sega Saturn Soft Databank, listing more games in the same format as the previous page. It's still a reader-sourced review section, giving a snapshot of game quality up to the mid-90s. You'll see release dates, game titles, publishers, prices, genres, reader review scores, and the magazine's own scores all neatly organized in a table. Diving into the games, you can spot a real mix of titles. There's Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series Sarah, Bug, Deep Fear, Sonic Wings Special, Virtua Hydlide, Street Fighter Zero, and Guardian Heroes, to name a few. Genres are varied too, from fighting and shooting to RPGs and puzzles. It's clear from the scores that some games were hits with both readers and the magazine's reviewers, while others had more mixed receptions. It's a great way to see how different games were perceived at the time, and it's interesting to see the range of software available for the Saturn in this period. The table format continues to offer a quick and easy way to compare games and their ratings. This page continues the Sega Saturn Game Databank, showcasing more titles with reader reviews and magazine scores. The listed games are quite varied, ranging from arcade conversions like WrestleMania, the arcade game, and the popular Virtua Cop 2, to more Japanese-centric experiences such as Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner Special Box, and Sailor Moon Supers. You'll find a mix of genres here, including fighting, shooting, RPGs, and puzzle games, reflecting the breadth of software available for the Saturn during this period. The page provides a snapshot of game reception at the time, with reader scores presented alongside the magazine's own ratings, giving an idea of how different titles were perceived by both players and critics. Action games like Virtualon are noticeable, and there is also a selection of strategy, simulation, and puzzle-based titles. This page continues the Game Databank, showcasing even more Sega Saturn titles. There's a wide variety of games featured, including titles like Super Casino Special, Daytona USA Circuit Edition, and Legend of K1 The Best Collection, alongside many Japanese-specific titles. We see games from genres like action, adventure, simulation, and sports games. Many titles are receiving reader reviews and scores, giving a glimpse into player opinions from back then. It seems like the magazine is still presenting a broad range of Saturn software for its readers, offering a diverse look into the game library at the time. This page showcases more of the Sega Saturn Game Databank Index. It's a continuation of the previous page, listing games alphabetically in Japanese phonetic order and giving them each a software number. There's a wide variety of titles here, showing the breadth of the Saturn's library. We can see well-known titles like Daytona USA, multiple winning horse racing simulation games, and Street Fighter Zero. There's also Space Jam, the basketball game featuring Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes, and NHL Quarterback Club. Japanese titles are also prominent, like Sakura Wars and Shinseki Evangelion, which would be known internationally as Neon Genesis Evangelion. The index covers various genres, including sports, fighting, simulation, and adventure games. It seems to be a straightforward index for players to easily locate games within the databank section of the magazine, providing a quick reference for the vast library of SEGA Saturn software available at the time. This page continues the alphabetical game index, now moving through titles starting with the ta, chi, tsu, te, and to sounds in Japanese. We can see a wide variety of games listed with their software numbers, including titles like Die Hard Trilogy, Daytona USA Circuit Edition, and Deep Fear. There are also games like Darius 2 and various Dragon Ball Z titles listed further down the page. It's a straightforward continuation of the game databank, offering a quick reference for SEGA Saturn owners looking for information on specific games within the magazine's index. The page seems focused on providing a comprehensive listing rather than in-depth descriptions or visuals. This page presents a questionnaire from SEGA Saturn Magazine, guiding readers on how to properly fill out the included answer postcard. It gives clear examples of good and bad answer markings to ensure accurate feedback. The survey itself covers a range of reader demographics, starting with basic questions like gender and age, and moves into areas like school or occupation, ownership of SEGA Saturn consoles and games, and their preferred game magazines. The page then lists hardware and software. Table 2 is a hardware list, detailing various SEGA Saturn consoles, including the original Saturn, Mega Drive, Super 32X, even referencing PlayStation and Nintendo 64 among other accessories like controllers and add-ons. Table 3 is a massive software list, a huge catalog of Saturn games. It is far too long to list every title here, but it clearly represents the breadth of the SEGA Saturn library, spanning genres from action and RPGs to simulations and puzzle games, with well-known titles amongst many others. Finally, there's a section called Articles in this issue, which lists some of the content featured within the magazine, including game reviews and previews, giving readers a glimpse of the editorial focus for this particular issue. This page is an advertisement for a very interesting SEGA Saturn game called Real Sound Wins Regret. It's advertised as a Warp Sound Entertainment, sound-only play love story, which is quite unique, stating clearly, "This software does not use screens at all. It is a game played with sound only." It's slated for release on July 18th, and priced at 6,400 yen for a 4-quadram set. The text talks about rediscovering sweet memories of first love, and experiencing a nostalgic love story entirely through sound. It mentions that in this game, you, the player, become the protagonist Hiroshi, and experience a romance with two heroines named Nana and Izumi. It emphasizes the drama and high-quality sound, suggesting it's a purely audio experience that will draw you in. The page also highlights some of the key staff involved in the game's creation. It lists Iizuka Kenji as the planning and director, Sakamoto Yuji for the scenario, and Suzuki Kenichi for the sound. We also see portraits of the voice actors: Kashiwabara Takashi, who voices Hiroshi, Yano Kana voicing Nana, and Fujiwara Ryoko voicing Izumi. This game is presented as a novel approach to gaming, focusing purely on auditory storytelling, a truly unique title for the Saturn. This page continues the discussion about the unique SEGA Saturn game, Real Sound Wins Regret. It's presented as a queue and a section. The first question asks, why did you decide to make a game with only sound? And the answer explains that the creator thought it would be interesting and enjoyable. They mention that while visual novels and TV dramas offer visual and auditory entertainment, Real Sound aims to provide real sound drama, highlighting the auditory aspect. It's described as a novel concept, allowing listeners to imagine the visuals themselves, thus adding to the immersive experience. The creator believes this focus on sound offers a unique and engaging form of entertainment. The second question asks about the meaning of regret in the title Wins Regret. The answer clarifies that regret is used to convey a feeling of bittersweetness and nostalgia, a sense of looking back on past events with mixed emotions. The game's theme is about reliving past memories, and the regret part is about reflecting on those experiences, not necessarily in a negative way, but with a touch of longing and emotional depth, fitting with the game's romantic and nostalgic tone. This page continues the discussion about real sound wins regret, presented in a dialogue format and a cue and a section. The dialogue appears to be between a boy and girl within the game, discussing everyday scenarios like looking at illustrations, a clock tower, and the wind. They talk about going to Tokyo, going home, and stargazing, capturing a sense of youthful nostalgia and simple moments. The girl asks if it's time to go home, and the boy agrees, highlighting the subtle passage of time within the game's soundscape. They reminisce about listening to the clock tower and wind together, evoking shared memories and feelings. In the Q&A section, the question is raised about why Yuji Sakamoto was chosen to write the script. The answer explains that the developers aim to create a unique, sound-focused experience, distinct from typical visually driven games. They believe Sakamoto's writing style, known for its ability to evoke imagination and emotion through dialogue and sound, was perfectly suited for real sound. It's mentioned that the game's planning and script were developed in tandem to best utilize Sakamoto's strengths, emphasizing the intentional and collaborative approach to crafting this sound-based game experience. This page continues the exploration of real sound, wins regret with more dialogue and a deeper dive into the creative choices behind the game. On the left, we see more of the in-game conversation between the young boy and girl. They're still immersed in the sounds of their environment, discussing things like summer vacation, forgetting things, the sound of cicadas and the wind. They talk about having secret conversations and the passage of time, really emphasizing the nostalgic and sensory experience the game aims to deliver. On the right side, there's a cue and a section that asks why Yuji Sakamoto was chosen to create the music for real sound. The answer explains that Sakamoto's strengths lie in creating evocative atmospheres, and his music is perfect for conveying a sense of mood and feeling. It mentions that his music has a unique flavor, and that he's known for it, even referencing his work on the game's Mother 1+2. This choice of musician reinforces the game's core concept of prioritizing sound and atmosphere over visuals, aiming to create a truly immersive audio experience. The developers wanted someone who could bring a specific feeling to the game, and they felt Sakamoto was the ideal person to achieve this. This page continues with more dialogue from real sound, wins regret. On the left side, we see more of the conversation between Hiroshi and Izumi. They're talking about everyday things like brushing teeth, being sleepy, the time, and going to school. On the right side, there's a question and answer section discussing how emotions are more important than actions in the game. It explains that the conversations in the game are designed to explore these feelings. It points out that even though the protagonist, Hiroshi, is a child who might seem simple, his feelings are actually quite complex and may be difficult to understand, but that's intentional. The game is really about conveying these nuanced emotions and the overall atmosphere, rather than typical gameplay actions, which really emphasizes the focus on sound and feeling discussed on the previous page. This page continues the conversation from real sound, wins regret. On the left, we see more of the dialogue between Hiroshi and Izumi. It seems like they are in the midst of getting ready in the morning. Izumi mentions the taste of toothpaste, and Hiroshi talks about still being sleepy. They discuss the time, and then Izumi brings up summer vacation being over and asks Hiroshi if he feels lonely now that it's finished. Hiroshi agrees he feels a bit lonely. Izumi then suggests they should go on a trip together sometime, maybe to a faraway island, to live together. She wonders if that would be good. Over on the right, there's a section discussing the game's design philosophy. It emphasizes that the core of the game is about emotional freedom. The text mentions that they've been writing these game scenarios for a while, always aiming for this feeling. It highlights that while it's called real sound, it's not just about sound, but about creating a deeply immersive experience where players can truly feel the atmosphere and emotions. They talk about wanting to express nuanced feelings, not just actions, and that they have deliberately made it so that players can experience these subtle emotions and atmosphere fully, highlighting the importance of sound design and feeling over typical game mechanics like speed and RAM capacity. They mention that they focused on crafting detailed soundscapes and environments to achieve this immersive quality. This page continues the dialogue from real sound, wins regret. On the left side, we see Hiroshi and Izumi still in their morning routine. Izumi is asking Hiroshi if he slept well and what kind of dreams he had. Hiroshi says he slept soundly. Izumi then brings up the topic of work, mentioning her company and how it's relatively flexible, which she appreciates. Hiroshi agrees, mentioning that her workplace sounds good. Izumi asks if Hiroshi feels lonely now that summer vacation is over, and he admits he does feel a bit lonely. On the right side of the page, there is a queue and a section asking about the recording process and why only 3 voice actors were involved. The answer clarifies that the limited number of voice actors, specifically 3, was intentional. They wanted a very focused and intimate recording atmosphere to emphasize the subtle emotions of the characters and allow for detailed direction. The recording sessions were lengthy, lasting around 12 hours, to ensure they captured the nuances of the performances. The text mentions voice actors Kano-san and Kashiwara-san as part of this small recording team, highlighting that everyone worked closely together to achieve the desired emotional depth in the game. The aim was to create a soundscape that players could fully immerse themselves in, feeling the atmosphere and emotions being conveyed, rather than just focusing on typical game elements. This page continues the focus on real sound, wins regret. On the left side, Hiroshi and Izumi's conversation continues. Now inside a train, we hear a train announcement, and Izumi asks Hiroshi if he is alright, as the train seems to be swaying. Hiroshi asks if Izumi is okay, and Izumi mentions that the girl from yesterday is also on the train. On the right side, there's a queue and a section addressing the topic of sequels. The question is whether Real Sound will have a sequel. The answer explains that while not a direct sequel, Real Sound is envisioned as a series of games. It clarifies that D and Enemy Zero are considered part of the same lineage in terms of game concept, even if not narratively connected. The common thread across these titles, including Real Sound, is the emphasis on sound. The text suggests that while linear sequels aren't planned, there will likely be more games in the Real Sound vein that explore unique sound-based gameplay experiences, hinting at future projects that will surprise players in a similar way to Real Sound Wins Regret. This page carries on with the train scene from Real Sound Wins Regret. We listen in as Hiroshi and Izumi continue their conversation on the train. Izumi suddenly realizes she's forgotten something, and they decide to get off the train. Over on the right, there's a queue and a section asking about playing Real Sound with or without a TV. The response suggests that headphones are the ideal way to experience the game, really emphasizing the immersive sound. However, it also mentions that using TV speakers is still possible. The main point is that Real Sound is really focused on the audio experience, and while visuals are there, the core gameplay is all about sound. It recommends using the Line 1 audio output if you can, and basically just encourages you to chill out and enjoy the unique sound-based gameplay of Real Sound Wins Regret, highlighting that the game's content is primarily in the audio, making the visuals secondary. This page continues the discussion about Real Sound Wins Regret. It seems to be visually representing the sound aspect of the game, with these very abstract, almost graffiti-like drawings scattered across the page. The talk about real sound is still going on, with more questions and answers focusing on how best to experience the game's unique, sound-based gameplay. The text emphasizes that headphones are definitely the way to go for the most immersive experience, but you can still use TV speakers if needed. The main takeaway is that Real Sound is all about the audio, and the visuals are really secondary to the experience, so you should kick back, relax, and dive into the sound world of Wins Regret. This page is a special feature focused on beautiful girl games for the SEGA Saturn, specifically highlighting titles from NEC Interchannel. It mentions that while the Saturn is known for hardcore genres like fighting games, it's also rich in games featuring attractive female characters. NEC Interchannel is presented as a publisher known for high-quality games in this genre, and this feature reveals their latest offerings. The page lists several games and their page numbers. Dokusei 2 on page 106, Sentimental Graffiti on page 110, Graduation S on page 113, Dragon Knight 4 on page 114, and Magical Girl Pretty Sammy on page 118. Visually, the page is filled with anime-style artwork of cute girls. There's a large image of a girl in pajamas with glasses, another with 2 energetic girls posing, and a smaller picture in the corner showing multiple anime characters. It's all about showcasing the appealing characters from these games. Essentially, this page is a spotlight on NEC Interchannel's lineup of beautiful girl games for the Saturn, indicating a focus on visual novels and dating sim-style experiences that were popular on the platform. This page shines the spotlight on Dokusei 2, a romance simulation game for the SEGA Saturn from NEC Interchannel, set to release on July 11th and priced at 7,900 yen. The tagline for the game is, "Melancholy transforms into affection." The page features screenshots showcasing in-game dialogue and scenes, giving a peek into the romantic interactions players can expect. It mentions the game focuses on classmates, but includes other relationship types such as younger girls, older sisters, and even teachers, highlighting the variety of potential love interests. There's a character file 1 section introducing 4 key female characters. They are categorized by their relationship to the protagonist. Firstly, there's Yayoi Kasumi, described as a sister-like presence that you've recently become interested in. Next is Tomomi Mizuno, the childhood friend from next door. Then, there's Izumi Kashiwara, a cute and petite classmate. Finally, Yoko Minamikawa, the wild and rowdy friend. The page also includes a comment from the producer, seemingly Tobita, who reflects on the development process of Dokusei 2. They mention the long development time and express their hope that players will enjoy the game and find emotional depth in its story. They suggest the game offers a winter love story that players can experience in the palm of their hand. Dokusei 2 features a dynamic time system where movement and the day/night cycle impact character availability and interactions. Players navigate the world, interacting with characters through varied actions like touch, investigate, and talk. The game emphasizes choice, where dialogue, promises, and decisions directly influence the narrative, leading to branching storylines and potentially irreversible consequences. A save system and settings are accessible from the protagonist's room, with an in-game computer for tracking relationships and schedules. The page also introduces 4 new female characters: Maijima Karin, Kano Sumire, Sakurazawa Kozue, and Kasumoto Sakurako, expanding the pool of potential romantic interests and adding further variety to the gameplay. This page delves into the dating aspects of Dokusei 2, highlighting the significance of Christmas and the year-end period for in-game dates. It suggests that many events are concentrated during this time. The page presents several date scenarios with different female characters and times, showing a variety of situations, from a movie date with Izumi to a nighttime encounter with Misako. It emphasizes the depth of relationships, hinting at how player choices and interactions can influence the narrative's direction and the girl's reactions. The page also introduces character profiles for 4 women. Firstly, Sawaki Misako is described as a mother figure for 10 years. Katahira Misuzu is portrayed as a kind but strict homeroom teacher. Tanaka Misa is an older woman with a mature aura. Lastly, Nosomura Misato is a bus guide who is always focused on her work. These character descriptions give a glimpse into the potential relationships and interactions players can have within Dokusei 2. The next page is all about Dokusei 2 and focuses on a fun-sounding ski trip getaway to a hot spring inn for a night and 2 days. It's part of a male edition series, highlighting the game's appeal to male players. The page showcases different in-game date scenarios during this trip, with screenshots displaying times and prices, like bus journeys and arrival at the inn. These scenes hint at various events that occur throughout the trip. There are sections dedicated to romantic elements like open-air baths, ski slopes, and the allure of yukata, bathrobes, suggesting these are all part of the dating experience within the game during this winter getaway. Character profiles introduce 4 female archetypes: the pure and innocent daughter of the inn, the charming inn lady, the sometimes forgotten babysitter, and a mysterious girl. These are represented by characters named Nagashima Kumiko and Sachiko, Yasuda Ami, and an unnamed mysterious girl. It seems to build upon the dating aspects from the previous page, setting the stage for romantic interactions during this winter vacation. This page dives into the allure of the 12 heroines from Sentimental Graffiti, taking a user-centric perspective. It aims to analyze what makes these characters so captivating to players, focusing on 2 specific characters, Sugihara Manami and Sawatari Honoka. The page details their unique charm. Sugihara Manami is described as embodying pure and innocent beauty, evoking a fragile feeling that users want to protect. She apparently ranked 2nd place with 1364 votes, suggesting significant popularity. Sawatari Honoka, on the other hand, is portrayed as the embodiment of the ideal girl archetype often seen in manga. She's described as slightly mischievous, but fundamentally kind and thoughtful. The page highlights her immense popularity, revealing she secured the top spot with a substantial 1614 votes out of a total of 7,819 votes cast. This dominant win suggests her appeal strongly resonates with users. The text also mentions comments from voters, reinforcing the idea of her being seen as the ideal girlfriend type. The next page continues to explore the captivating heroines of sentimental graffiti, focusing on the user's perspective. It spotlights 3 more characters and their distinct appeals. First up is Mori Kaho, described as a bright and lively sports girl. Apparently, she's quite popular locally, works at an okonomiyaki restaurant, and ranked 3rd in popularity polls with 921 votes. The page highlights her straightforward and honest personality. Next, we have Matsuoka Chi, an energetic band girl. She's known for her ponytail and lively nature, and being a band member. She secured 5th place with 650 votes. It's mentioned that fans particularly like her coolness, and many are drawn to her desire to sing a love song to the main character. Lastly, there's Ayasaki Wakana, portrayed as a mature and composed Japanese beauty, embodying the Yamato Nadeshiko ideal. She's described as having a certain moistness and beautiful long black hair, which is popular with men. She ranked 4th with 859 votes. The text hints at a hidden trauma that further attracts fans, adding depth to her character. In a small box at the bottom, there's a note indicating that it's almost been a year since the series Sentimental Graffiti was released, reminiscing about its long journey and hinting that there's still more to come for fans to look forward to. This text profiles 4 heroines from Sentimental Graffiti, building on the user's perspective. Nanasiu, ranked 6th, is seen as unpredictable and free-spirited, attracting fans with her unique values and desire for adventure. Yamamoto Rurika, the 7th ranked, is a cheerful and charming mood-maker, drawing admiration from many male friends. Adachi Taeko, a stylish older sister type, ranked 9th, is skilled in housework and caring, popular with older men, despite being a student type. Endo Akira, ranked 8th, is confident and independent, known for her cooking and childcare skills, possessing a sophisticated and cool demeanor. This page showcases the game Graduation S, highlighting it as a beautiful girl game for the Saturn. We are introduced to 3 characters. Nagakura Emiru, who is described as liking occult things but being clumsy, and seen as a girl with a pure heart. Hosaka Miyuki is presented as the Mega Neko daughter, or glasses girl type, and noted to be popular, possibly due to her personality matching her image. Finally, Hoshino Asuka is described as a trendy and mischievous younger sister type. The page mentions that the game takes place over a year, spanning spring, summer, autumn, and winter, where you guide 5 graduating girls. It emphasizes the character popularity of the Graduation series, and suggests that raising these girls, from honor students to mischievous ones, will be a real challenge. The page also mentions the Kinghua festival in the game, where each character sings their own song. The Saturn version will feature new events and updated visuals compared to other platforms. The bottom section talks about the game being in the final stages of development and promises a fulfilling experience, signed by the producer, Tabuda. This page is all about Dragon Knight 4, a full-fledged simulation RPG for the Saturn. It's highlighted as more than just endless battles, emphasizing the events that unfold in towns and villages you liberate, adding significant depth to the gameplay. The main character is Kakeru, and the story follows him and his party as they escape a looming evil and liberate towns and villages from enemy occupation. Gameplay involves resting in towns, talking to the locals to advance the story, gathering items, and recruiting companions. You can also train your allies in the town's training facilities. Battles are strategic, where you command your troops and aim to defeat enemy characters occupying towns to liberate them. The game progresses through battles and events, ultimately aiming to defeat the final boss. The page mentions the female characters are diverse, ranging from childlike to mature ladies, and even including elf girls, all with their own charm. The game is single-player, rated for 18 years and over, and is an RPG. This page delves deeper into Dragon Knight 4, highlighting the visual and emotional depth of the game. It mentions visuals can even reach the heart, suggesting the game is aiming for a strong emotional connection with players through its graphics and story. The page focuses on the themes of Mana's love, Minax's anger, and then Kakeru's journey. It explains that in the future world, Minax, the Demon King, desires to control the human world, but divine surveillance restricts his actions. Minax is in a relationship with Mana, and also has a subordinate named Luciphon. Minax learns about Luciphon's secret meetings through Ino, who is next in line to lead the demons. Believing Luciphon lacks the qualities to be the next demon king, Minax imprisons him in a dimensional rift. The story continues that 3,000 years later, Minax, still unable to forget his ambition, is now worshipped as a god. Luciphon, trapped in the rift, uses a mysterious power and orders Takel to kill Minax. This sets the stage for Kakeru's journey into a world where love, betrayal, and ambition collide. Kakeru is tasked with defeating enemies and liberating towns, ultimately leading to a confrontation with Minax. The page also mentions Kakeru is 5 years old and very mischievous. He receives a letter from Barn, asking him to help defeat an unknown man, and Kakeru, eager for adventure like his father Takel, embarks on his journey. The page captions Kakeru's enthusiasm as he sets off, emphasizing the start of his adventure. In Sonia Town, Kakeru encounters the troublemaker Linus, who is harassing the townswomen. After a misunderstanding, Kakeru confronts Linus and inadvertently gains a follower. Barn then tasks his son, Sale, to accompany Kakeru. Marion, a kind woman, shows maternal affection toward Kakeru of death. In Raymond Kingdom, Kakeru and Sale face an invasion by black shadows. They meet Etato, who is knowledgeable about the threat and seeks their aid. Together, they agree to reclaim Ulysses Town. Eto joins Kakeru and Sale as a companion. The next page highlights Dragon Knight 4, focusing on some key male characters and a scenario in the game. First up is Ito, described as a leader during battles and a dependable guy, though a bit rough around the edges, especially when relaxing in town. The page details a battle scenario. Reclaim Ulysses Town, where Ito leads the charge to liberate Ulysses Town from the Lufon army. It mentions the army isn't too strong, making it a good starting point for the battle. Then it introduces Kakel, another favorable man, who's depicted as someone who can't resist women, but is reliable when it counts, especially when blood of Takel flows in him. This section describes Kakel rescuing a girl named Nelido, a magician girl who was captured because she wasn't taught how to undo ropes with magic at her magic school. Kakel helps her out, and whether she joins his group is up to the player. Finally, there's Charon, an extra story, favorable man, portrayed as a mischievous knight with a different kind of charm. He seems to join the party after rescuing Natasha, who is described as a young girl lost in the forest and found by Charon. Naruto apparently wants Natasha, who can use magic, to join the group, leading to Natasha becoming a new companion and the group heading towards Lavinia Town. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn game, Magical Girl Pretty Sammy, which is slated to be released in August for 6,800 yen. It's described as a chaotic adventure game, with a storyline that's wild and unpredictable, focusing on Sammy's daily life as a magical girl. The story kicks off with a routine physical examination at school, but things quickly escalate into something much more bizarre. They introduce Shizuka Barnes-Bernstein, a world-renowned school doctor. It appears she's a key figure in the game, using various diagnostic machines like X-rays and CORT scans. However, instead of just taking measurements, it seems the doctor is turning the whole physical exam into a chaotic event, potentially revealing everyone's data publicly, and even transforming into a mecha called Hellraiser to chase the students. The screenshots show scenes from the body measurement scenarios, including Sammy and her classmates getting examined, and then running away from the doctor's mecha. The page emphasizes the game's humorous and over-the-top nature, promising a very energetic and fresh experience for Saturn players. This page continues to delve into the wild gameplay of Magical Girl Pretty Sammy. It highlights the game's focus on player choices, even the strange and silly ones, saying that experimenting with different options is key to uncovering all sorts of fun events hidden within the game. The page shows more of the chaotic physical exam scenario, showcasing different mini-games or events like heart rate tests and volleyballs. It reassures players that the game isn't too punishing, meaning you won't get game overs easily, encouraging you to try out all the wacky choices. Then things escalate. Pixie Misa appears and turns Dr. Bernstein's mecha into a love monster called Kenku Wona, which is like a healthy woman monster. This sets up a boss battle situation. The story progresses to reveal that Kenku Wona has a core making her tough to defeat. Adding to the urgency, Pixie Misa activates a self-destruct switch, initiating a 30-minute countdown. The text emphasizes this is a real emergency situation, and hints that it took 3 players working together to overcome this challenge. Finally, it mentions that the Saturn version of Pretty Sammy is structured like a branching digital comic book. It reveals that completing the game once only shows around 20% of the total content, encouraging multiple playthroughs to see everything the game has to offer. This implies there are many hidden events and paths to explore, making it a game with lots of replayability. This page introduces the concept of healing games, and it dives into the idea that people are seeking comfort and relief from the stresses of the modern world, referencing things like health food trends and even cults as examples of this desire for healing. The page questions if video games can offer more than just entertainment, asking if they can provide actual healing. It uses images to illustrate this theme. There's a picture of a man lovingly polishing a Ferrari, labeled Unrequited Love, suggesting perhaps material wealth or status symbols don't bring true peace. Another image shows a relaxed couple enjoying nature, captioned, Resting Heart, Loving Heart, hinting at simpler sources of comfort. Then there's a picture of someone slumped over a messy desk at a computer, described as harsh labor, highlighting the pressures of work. Text around the page reinforces the idea of wanting to be healed. The headline itself reads, Everyone Healed, with a subheading for a special feature titled Healing with Games, and it even mentions contradictions of capitalism, subtly suggesting modern society might be contributing to this need for healing. Ultimately, the page sets the stage for exploring the potential of games to be more than just play, and to offer a form of healing in a stressful world, seeking out new possibilities for games. The article explores the rise of a healing boom within video games and related media. This trend sees individuals turning to games and immersive experiences for comfort and well-being, not just entertainment. The focus is on technology like Vibrasound, which utilizes VR, sound, light, and vibrations to induce altered states of consciousness, promoting relaxation and potential spiritual experiences. The article highlights this with various associated items, like books on relaxation, soothing music, and even a virtual drug VHS tape. The success of psychological anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion is cited as proof that media can connect with emotional needs, and even facilitate the desire for understanding. The immersive experience is further enhanced by devices like room aura purification systems, allowing for a personalized and technological approach to achieving inner peace. The SEGA Saturn, known for its action-oriented games, is explored for its potential to offer healing games in a market increasingly focused on relaxation. Following the console's launch, over 600 titles were released, often featuring themes of sex and violence. However, some games buck this trend. Aquazone, a PC port, allows players to design and observe a virtual aquarium. World Train Encyclopedia offers a database of European scenery, particularly Swiss trains, designed to provide escapism. Aroma Club, an arcade machine, provides aromatherapy experiences. Designed for stress relief, the machine uses natural oils, offering personalized blends based on psychological assessments, signifying Sega's venture into providing healing experiences within its gaming landscape. This article explores the potential for healing games on the Sega Saturn, even in unexpected titles. It suggests that a change in perspective can reveal relaxing qualities in games not explicitly designed for relaxation. Games like Sea Bass Fishing 2, with its serene fishing experience and beautiful environments, are presented as naturally soothing. Nights into Dreams is highlighted for its liberating aerial acrobatics. Wing Arms offers stress relief through exhilarating aerial combat. Overdriving GTR is recommended for its scenic driving experience, particularly the free play mode. A discussion section between E and I reveals that games can be stressful, especially older ones. However, they conclude that simple, accessible games and even repetitive tasks or violent acts in other games can be healing if they bring happiness. In an interview, game creator Kazutoshi Ida discusses his healing game, Aquanaut's Holiday. He reflects on the concept of healing in gaming from 1995, noting its association with cults and his desire for immersive experiences that evoke a state of nothingness in players. He contrasts this with busy work-filled games, aiming instead for downer or chill-out games that might even induce sleepiness, which he considered a positive outcome during Aquanaut's Holiday's development. Ida, who measured brainwaves during development, felt older games like Zebius offered a purer, immersive experience. He is currently collaborating with Shigehito Sugita on a new project, hinting at the continuation of Aquanaut's Holiday's healing focus. Ida, born in 1968, is known for his work on multimedia titles, and as the creator of Aquanaut's Holiday and Tale of the Sun. This page delves into the therapeutic potential of downer or chill-out games, featuring interviews with 3 game creators. Kuji Hiroi emphasizes the healing power of fun, comparing game creation and social interaction to sources of upliftment. Kenji Iino finds relaxation in nighttime drives, ambient music, and simple pleasures like coffee shops. Koichi Nakamura unwinds with Tetris, seeing it as a form of meditation, and also enjoys golf. The interviews highlight how diverse the concept of healing games can be, with each creator finding solace in different experiences. The page also includes a diagram contrasting upper games, high goals, limited freedom, with downer games, lower goals, more freedom, suggesting that individuals find healing and relaxation in various gaming styles. The next page continues the theme of games for healing, and this time it dives into specific game examples, as described by a Saturn magazine writer. Starting with Darius Gaiden, it highlights how this shoot-'em-up, despite its genre, offers a sense of calm. The writer points out that while upper games can be stressful, Darius Gaiden, with its detailed graphics and sound, provides a relaxing experience. It mentions the game's ability to evoke a sense of peace rather than tension, especially when things get frantic on screen, which somehow leads to a feeling of relief. Moving on, there's a section on Angelique Special 2, a romance simulation game. This section explores the idea of romantic games as a form of healing, particularly for men, focusing on the appeal of interacting with female characters. The writer talks about the charm of games like Angelique, where you interact with and support characters like Angelique and the Guardian Saints. Finally, Tokimeki Memorial Forever With You, a dating sim, is featured. This game is also presented as a type of healing experience, emphasizing the connection and comfort derived from virtual relationships, in this case with characters like Shiori Fujisaki. The writer suggests that these types of games, where you nurture relationships with female characters, offer a form of emotional solace. The overall page really emphasizes how different genres can provide relaxation and comfort in their own unique ways. The next page delves deeper into the theme of healing through games with a column section. First up is Columns, described by Sasaki Isao-ichi, who sees it as a kind of eternal movement of jewel construction and disappearance. He emphasizes how the game's simple yet engaging nature can clear your mind and even induce a trance-like state, highlighting its meditative quality. Moving to Space Harrier, Murayama Kazuyuki talks about the retro revival aspect and the overwhelming, flashy nature of the game. He reminisces about the intense sensation and memories it evokes, suggesting that revisiting these classic games can be a healing experience through nostalgia and pure excitement. Lastly, Shinoda Satoshi discusses Puku Puku Panic under the playful heading, After School with High School Girls. He humorously touches upon the physics of bouncing chests and gravity, indicating a more lighthearted, perhaps even fan service-oriented approach to gaming as a form of relaxation and stress relief. It seems to suggest that even light and somewhat silly games can offer their own type of healing through simple fun and entertainment. In an interview titled Rika Sensei's Special Lecture, Healing is a Suspicious Word, psychiatrist and writer Kaya Rika critiques the popular healing trend, especially in the context of games. She questions the authenticity of healing and expresses concern about its potential superficiality. Rika observes that many, feeling unrewarded, attribute their perceived failures to being wounded and in need of healing. She views healing itself with suspicion, comparing it to potentially manipulative practices like past self-enlightenment seminars. Rika argues true healing involves active engagement with suffering, not passive comfort. She sees the healing boom as a marketing strategy that offers easy, superficial solutions. She concludes that genuine emotional recovery necessitates confronting and embracing struggles, rather than seeking fleeting, easy comforts. Psychiatrist Rika Kaya utilizes video games in her therapy, initially due to her personal enjoyment. She finds games a valuable tool, especially for withdrawn children, enabling them to connect and express themselves. Older adventure games, like Disappearance to Okhotsk, are recommended for building self-confidence through problem-solving. Kaya views gaming as a necessary emotional recharge, contrasting with the demands of daily life. Kaya, a graduate of Tokyo Medical University, writes under the pen name Rika-chan Doll, and is involved in various media platforms. She integrates her gaming knowledge in consultations and publications like Rikichan Complex, advocating for the therapeutic potential of games. She believes gaming offers a beneficial retreat for recharging and strengthening individuals to face challenges. This page takes us to Hudson's Sapporo Research Institute as part of a travel diary, and it's issue number 10. It's a peek inside their Hokkaido headquarters, and the article teases about finding some treasures during the office tour. They're definitely busy developing new games and hardware there. There's a section where the editor is pondering about Hudson posters and their masculine image, which is a bit of a random thought. Then we dive into the Ichigaya Lady Legend corner, featuring Ikuno Makiko, a self-proclaimed messenger girl who's into bowling and soft-serve ice cream recently. She jokes about not keeping up with modern games and getting motion sickness from them. In Illustrator Appears, they spotlight 3 artists, Mamiya from Gunma, Yu, and Kina Kanade Ari, both from Aichi. It seems like they're showcasing fan artists. There's also a I Want Something Like This box hyping up Tengai Make-You 2, Manji Maru, referring to it as Far East of Eden 2 in English. They mention it's the first in the series with a 16-year-old girl protagonist, uses the PLGS system, and is set in medieval to early modern Europe. Apparently, you can even raise your prestige by going to culture centers for mini-games. Sounds intriguing. Finally, they announce the theme song for the Virus radio drama, called Crazy Jigs, by date of birth. They're described as a band known for drama themes in Japan, with a good reputation even in Germany and the UK. This page dives into the latest and upcoming SEGA Saturn game releases. On the left, under new release titles, they're highlighting recently dropped games like National Uniform Bishujo Grand Prix Fine Love, Legend of Galactic Heroes Plus, and Ultraman Illustrated Encyclopedia 2. There's also Kamen Rider Operation File 1, a Kochikame game, Terra Cresta 3D, and Sorcerer Hunters R. Flipping over to the right side, we see Coming Soon Soft, showcasing hotly anticipated titles. Get ready for Samurai Showdown, RPG, Langrisser IV, and Lunar, Silver Star Story Unpeg version for enhanced video. Also mentioned are Hero Aspiration Gal Act Heroism, Universal Nuts, and Sega Soccer Slam 2, the latest in the J.League Soccer Sim series. Fighting game fans can look forward to Fighter's History Dynamite, while shooter enthusiasts have Thunder Force V and Storm Dragon on the horizon. Rounding out the list are games like Daisuke, PTO2i, Pacific Theater of Operations, Panachan, Top Anglers Superfishing, Big Fight 2, and Crazy Ivan. The artwork featured alongside this section seems to be from Samurai Showdown RPG. This page showcases 2 exciting titles. First up is National Uniform Bishujo Grand Prix Find Love, a puzzle adventure game packed with 35 charming anime girls. It's a mix of jigsaw and memory puzzles wrapped in an adventure game, where you interact with these girls. Apparently, there are over 210 graphics of girls in uniforms to enjoy, plus some extra surprises. The choices you make in the adventure part influence the puzzles you'll face, promising unpredictable fun. The tagline suggests you get to peek into the daily lives of these girls. The second game highlighted is Legend of Galactic Heroes Plus, a simulation game and an enhanced version of the originals. It's touted as bringing a fresh take to the Legend of Galactic Heroes saga on Saturn. It emphasizes deep strategic gameplay and the unique universe of the series. They've added an opening movie showing epic fleet battles, and event scenes now have voice acting, boosting the immersion. Fans of the original will appreciate the faithful combat recreation, and a new mode with 4 scenarios adds to the replayability. They've also worked on making the game easier to control and visually clearer, making it more user-friendly. The page mentions strategic elements like commanding fleets and detailed polygon ship models, suggesting a deep and engaging strategy experience. This page showcases 3 upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Ultraman Encyclopedia 2, the second installment in the Ultraman database series. This one focuses on the Ultraman series from The Return of Ultraman to Ultraman Taro, boasting a massive collection of data with around 241 monsters and story digests from all 156 episodes. They are aiming to make you an Ultraman expert with this one. The game is currently 40% complete and promises to be packed with various data. Next we have Kamen Rider Strategy File 1, a database game focusing on the original Kamen Riders 1 and 2. This one covers a whopping 100 episodes, including both TV episodes and theatrical releases. Expect to see transformation scenes and special moves in true motion movies, and the gameplay is said to be significantly enhanced from the PC version. The game is 70% complete and seems to be geared towards in-depth data analysis to perfect your Kamen Rider strategies. Finally, there's Kochikame Park Area Outpost, Provisional, a board game adaptation of the popular Kochikame gag manga set in the fictional amusement park Nakagawa Land. You'll play as familiar characters like Ryotsu, Nakagawa, Honda, and Raiko, all aiming for the goal. It sounds like a chaotic and fun board game experience, with unique events triggered by landing on different spaces. This one is further along in development, at 80% completion, and emphasizes the lively and individualistic characters of Kochikame. This page highlights two exciting upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Terra Cresta 3D, a revival of the classic shooter Terra Cresta, now reborn in glorious 3D polygons after 12 long years. They've kept the core gameplay, like formation attacks and the iconic Firebird attack, but the boss battles are now in full 3D. It promises to be a thrilling experience, with 6 stages to blast through, and the graphics are getting a significant upgrade from the original. The Firebird attack is particularly emphasized as a returning favorite, being described as a powerful attack, where all 3 ships combine to clear the screen. Next is Sorcerer Hunters R, an adventure game based on the popular Sorcerer Hunters manga and anime series. This time, it's venturing into the adventure genre with RPG elements. The story revolves around the quest for the Platinum Stone and the 5 Sorcerer Hunters, including Carrot and Marin, who are ready for action. The game boasts beautiful new animation and is fully voiced. Plus, they're promising plenty of those signature, sexy scenes from the series that fans will surely appreciate. The characters are fully voiced, and there are even Trial Walls minigames within the story. It seems like they are focusing on the story and the characters, particularly the allure of the Sorcerer Hunters world. This page dives into Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, or Bushido Retsuden as it's known here, for the Sega Saturn. It's presented as a simplified progression flowchart to guide players through the game. You can see the paths for classic characters like Cham Cham, Nakoru, Galford, Ukyo Tachibana, Genjuro Kibagami, and Haomaru, each starting in their familiar locales like Green Hell for Cham Cham and Kamui Kotan for Nakoru. The flowchart shows a journey through various locations, from forests and mountains to Edo Town, and even an upside-down castle, all leading to the ultimate goal of defeating a dark god. The page highlights the story focusing on Hakomaru, who is seeking help to face this dark god. We also get a glimpse of Genjuro's storyline, showing him training at Kikyoin and eventually encountering Amakusa Shirotokisada, the recurring antagonist of the series, with the call to action being, "Chase Amakusa." There are some screenshots showcasing in-game action, and it's mentioned the game is 100% complete and priced at 6,800 yen. The reviewer seems excited, saying it's finally here and encourages players to try it out, especially mentioning the original events within the game and to choose your favorite character to play. Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, features expanded character storylines. Ukyo Tachibana seeks the ultimate flower, venturing into the demon world. Galford aims to rescue his disciple Makoto. Cham Cham quests to retrieve the Palin Stone, with a journey to Edo and beyond, and Nakoru protects nature after her father's death, starting in Kamui Kotan. The page also showcases game locations. Edo is divided into north and south, introducing early enemies like Soryu and Manta. Green Hell offers items like super green juice and herbs. Kamui Forest has treasure, including straw sandals. The Solar Shrine provides heavenly sacred sake. Cham Cham needs to gain strength at the shrine. Finally, maps of Hare Forest and Mountain are previewed, with Cham Cham's journey to Ice Shrine hinted at. This page from SEGA Saturn Magazine delves into Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, providing a location guide and character breakdowns. Starting in Edo South Town, you're on a quest to find Jushiro and get yourself equipped. Be cautious in MT Fuji Tree Sea, as flying demons are a real threat there. Mount Fuji Middle is a good spot for leveling up, as you can encounter red Karakuri enemies for experience. The underground dungeon is also briefly introduced. Moving on to characters. The page gives a rundown of fighter types. Hayomaru is your power character, whilst Ukyo Tachibana is strong offensively but vulnerable. Galford is agile with special moves. Nakoru excels at recovery. Rimuru mirrors her sister but struggles with offense. Cham Cham uses direct attacks and recovery moves. Charlotte is defensively strong with balanced offense. And Senryo Kyoshiro is portrayed as a well-rounded fighter. Treasure locations are also pointed out in each area. In MT Fuji Tree C, look out for holy wine, healing water, and power source. Mount Fuji Middle holds all cure medicine and warrior's bandage. And in the underground dungeon, treasures include dragon's reverse scale, thunder amulet, and power source. The page wraps up with a helpful, save often, reminder. It suggests making good use of Kuroko, who can be found in places like the Starting Point, Maple Leaf Hospital, Kamui Kotan, Port of Kamui, Green Hell, and Edo South Town, reinforcing the need to save your progress frequently throughout your journey. This page of SEGA Saturn magazine takes us further into the Edo area of Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, now focusing on Edo North Town. The guide highlights that after defeating the boss in Edo Castle, the North Town gates will finally open. The page provides a numbered map of North Town to help players navigate. Locations of interest include a bathhouse for healing, a blacksmith for weapon upgrades, a gambling den to test your luck, and a weapons shop to acquire better gear. It also features the enemy Ushiwaka Hime, suggesting she's a boss encounter in this area. There's a list of treasures to be found, which include items like fragrant water, holy sake, power source, and fairy secret medicine. These are all likely items to boost your stats or recovery. The reviewer recommends exploring Edo Town thoroughly before moving on, suggesting players should then head to Jushiro's residence in South Town to learn more about the unfolding demonic events and where to go next. Which seems to be Idase, based on the text. They also emphasize using the save points frequently, and mention that towns are now bustling with shopkeepers after clearing Edo Castle, making it a good time to enjoy the town's amenities. This page continues the Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage Guide, moving on from Edo to the ice area and focusing on a quest to find the shiphead parent to access Kamui's training grounds. It seems you start in Edo North Town and progress through the pleasure quarter and clothing store to find this parent figure. The guide then shows a cheerful scene in town, highlighting the beautiful clothing available. Next, it details Kamui's training grounds, located amongst mysterious trees, and mentions enemies like Karakasa Kozu and Hitotsume Kozu, stating they are weaker compared to enemies at Mount Fuji. The page then introduces Malaise Town, describing it as a place haunted by demons. It talks about the Mikazuki Dongu enemy, emphasizing its dual sword style, and hints at a quest involving this demon after speaking to a diviner. Two more enemy types are mentioned: the Mermaid, a healing type, and Hyde, a creature with strong attacks but low defense and ice element. There's a section about a rematch with an even stronger Mikazuki Dongao. Finally, it introduces the ice underwater cave, with a map showing numbered locations and treasure chests containing items like holy sakes, warrior medicine, all-purpose medicine, and fire scrolls. Interestingly, there's a special Nakoru's enemy-only event if Nakoru is in your party when you defeat Mikazuki Dongu, which involves an orca named Ilka. The page ends by showcasing a battle against the nine-headed dragon, presumably the boss of the Ice Underwater Cave. Langrisser IV is nearing completion, with the reviewer anticipating an august release and urging players to experience it. The game's mid-stage introduces new mysteries and shifting internal affairs within the Federation Army. The scenarios detail key events. Scenario 14, Rescue Kakansis Army, sees Landius caught between opposing forces, including Bruno and Kruger, while Scenario 15, Steel Cavalry Army, highlights Kruger's coronation and marriage to Rosenshill. Scenario 16, Battle of Ames Bay, depicts the Federation Army's pursuit of retreating Kakansis forces. A dream sequence featuring Landius and 4 girls, potentially including Shelfaniel, suggests relationship elements within the game. This page delves deeper into Langrisser IV, showcasing 3 scenarios. Scenario 09, Kakansis Castle Siege Battle, where players, as Lanford's allied forces, are tasked with attacking Kakansis Castle. Tactics involve using flyers and magic to overcome the initial wave of enemies, followed by countering approaching heavy infantry and archers from the front and east. Scenario 10, Mountain Path Roar of Night Demon, focuses on Selena's army being cut off and needing to defeat Emily's forces within 20 turns in a location split into south and north areas. The advice is to allocate forces appropriately and use archers and mages effectively from afar, especially against Emily, who is described as strong. Scenario 16, Ames Bay Battle, depicts the Allied forces pursuing the retreating Kakonsis army, emphasizing Giselov's strategic prowess in luring the Allied forces into a trap and the subsequent pursuit by the Federation army. The page also features a character relationship chart, focusing on key figures in the First Prince faction, which opposes Giselov. It details relationships like marriage, cooperation, and subordinates between characters such as Kruger, Rosenschill, Bernhardt, Frederick, Valberoy, Lanford, Emily, Selena, Wheela, and others, illustrating the complex web of alliances and rivalries within the game's narrative. Again, Giselov's faction is also highlighted, showing his subordinates and allies, like the sorceress Jessica and the Dark Knight Null. The chart generally outlines character affiliations and motivations in the ongoing conflict. This page is all about Lunar, Silver Star Story, complete on the Sega Saturn, which they are really pushing as a must-have for Lunar fans and anime lovers. The page emphasizes the upgraded graphics, calling them beautiful and overwhelmingly sharp. It boasts about the game being a definitive version, highlighting it as Anime Game #1 and showcasing its vibrant visuals. They mention it uses the Saturn's capabilities to the fullest, showing off full-screen visuals that rival OVA's in quality. It talks about the story, focusing on Alex's journey to become a Dragon Master and his encounters with companions, as well as the capture of Luna. The journey is described as long and challenging, with encounters and partings with friends. The page mentions the story revolves around saving Luna and the world, a journey for a young boy and his companions. It also points out that Alex eventually inherits the Dragon Master title. Luna's kidnapping by the Magic Emperor Galleon is mentioned, highlighting her importance in the story. They also mention the MPEG version is in development, suggesting even better visuals are on the horizon, and encourage readers to give feedback. Overall, it's a promotional piece emphasizing the graphical and storytelling strengths of Lunar. Silver Star Story, complete on the Sega Saturn. This page continues the hype for Lunar, Silver Star Story, complete on Sega Saturn, diving into two key highlights. The first point is about the epic battle between the mechanical castle and Vane, emphasizing the grand scale of the conflict for humanity's survival. It questions if anyone can stop the mechanical castle, revealing Luna is trapped within it. We learn the Magic Emperor has already captured the goddess, setting the stage for a desperate fight. The text mentions the power to oppose the goddess lies in Vane's magic, leading to an all-out war between Vane and the mechanical castle, described as the strongest battle in history. The second highlight is Althena's Spring, a must-see scene for fans. It's described as the Althena's Spring Hot Spring version. They mention that while Kyle might not care too much, Nash is definitely interested. It highlights the visual appeal of this scene in the Sega Saturn version, calling it a visual feast, and something fans would expect and enjoy in a Lunar game. Finally, it mentions the popular bromides, stating that 3 new types have been added. While bromides were already included in the standard release, this MPEG version will come with 10 types of trading cards as a special bonus. They also reveal that within this MPEG version, 3 new bromides are hidden, and one of them is Luna. They tease who the other 2 might be, leaving it as a mystery. This page introduces us to Heroic Aspiration Gal Act Heroism, a role-playing game where you guide 3 girls from a hero training school on their quest to become true heroes. The game focuses on character development as you tackle numerous scenarios alongside a watchful fairy. It seems character customization is key, with 8 different stats that you can freely allocate points to. The game boasts a free level-up system and promises multiple endings that change based on your actions and character development. The scenarios unfold as you accept requests, and completing them successfully earns you experience and rewards, leading to level-ups. The page highlights a quest example called One of Case, featuring the character Mint, a sword fighter. Mint receives a challenge letter regarding an upcoming tournament. It seems like foul play is involved, as someone is trying to sabotage her. You, as the player, investigate this, engage in battles, and ultimately resolve the case, earning a reward for Mint. A 1-point section explains character growth. Leveling up through experience is the main way to get stronger, but you can also find stat-boosting items in dungeons. The difficulty and rewards of quests vary, so strategically choosing quests is important to customize your character's stats to your liking. Heroic Aspiration Gal Act Heroism introduces a school setting focused on graduation practical training, where classmates are rivals. The goal is to become a hero. Key characters include Ayame, a hot-blooded samurai; Lulia, a proud half-elf with medical and magical skills; Priscilla, a cool supervisor; and May, a mech-loving girl. The game emphasizes competition with rival teams like Alpha, Vector, Charlie, and Delta. The narrative hints at a competitive environment, where classmates may not show mercy in pursuit of their heroic aspirations. A screenshot reveals character portraits and a battle interface, suggesting a strategic element in gameplay. This page introduces Universal Nuts, an adventure game set in the vast expanse of space, or at least interstellar space. The core enjoyment of adventure games is described as the immersive experience of a compelling narrative, with captivating visuals and relatable characters. Universal Nuts aims to deliver this by placing players on a spaceship as the main character, where they explore the ship's interior and make choices that drive the branching storyline. The narrative is structured into 10 chapters, and your choices will impact emotion flags, leading to different endings, encouraging multiple playthroughs to experience all the scenarios. The page introduces Yui, a high school freshman and the game's protagonist, who gets caught up in an incident during a summer vacation trip with AI. The text highlights a central event, space accident, suggesting a dramatic turn in the story. A developer message at the bottom mentions the game's focus on a space trip during summer vacation, indicating the setting and theme. The game is stated to be 30% complete, and the developers invite players to look forward to enjoying it after the summer. This page showcases the upcoming adventure game Fairy ni Omadwa, or Until I Meet Fairy. It puts the spotlight on the characters designed by Junji Uchida, known for his work on titles like Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam and Metal Jack. We get introductions to several key characters. There's a counselor who's caught up in a metal smuggling scandal. Red Hair is described as a strong but temperamental character with a fiery personality. A female doctor is introduced, who's sensitive to environmental changes due to being caught in a meteorite storm. And we see Yui, the older sister of Yui, who was introduced on the previous page, described as straightforward and a bit short-tempered. The page features in-game screenshots showing character interactions and snippets of dialogue, giving us a glimpse into the narrative. The game's story is outlined, mentioning a space trip that takes a turn for the worse when giant meteorites appear and rescue signals are sent. It seems the story revolves around 9 people on a ferry and the unfolding events. Finally, the page lists the staff involved in the game's creation, such as the character designer and scriptwriter, along with the voice cast for each character. The phrase, "the actors are gathering," emphasizes the importance of these characters in the game's story. This page really expands on the world and characters hinted at on the previous page, promising an engaging adventure. This page is all about J.League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru 2, which we know as SEGA Worldwide Soccer Manager 98. They are really pushing the improvements to the match gameplay. The article emphasizes that the match screen has been completely revamped, and it's not just a visual update. They've also focused on improving player movement, the flow of the match, and the overall presentation. There's a section showing before and after screenshots of the match screens, so you can see the graphical improvements and smoother player animations for yourself. They've even got interviews with the planner, Ohashi Osamu, and the producer, Matsura Satoshi, giving their insights into the game's development. They're highlighting things like more varied player movements, faster speeds, and more dynamic gameplay. Motion capture has been used extensively to create more realistic animations, especially for things like goal celebrations and dribbling skills. They also mention uniform variations for all the clubs as a new feature. Apparently the game is currently 45% complete, but from what they're showing, it looks like the matchday experience will be a big step up from the previous game. SEGA Worldwide Soccer Manager 98 is getting visual overhauls. Stadiums now feature dynamic elements like rotating advertising boards and changing crowd numbers. Night games are significantly improved with realistic lighting and shadows. Player names are displayed on screen for easier identification. The game's creators, Wada Akihito and Ohashi Osamu, discuss enhancements in an interview. They're focusing on faster gameplay and more fluid player movement achieved through motion capture. New features include weather effects influencing team performance, improved stadium crowd integration, and the ability to skip matches while still receiving match information. The developers express enthusiasm for the game and are committed to ongoing improvements. This page is all about the Sega Saturn fighting game, Fighter's History Dynamite. It's an introduction to the game's characters and their special moves. The page boldly declares it's a perfect port of the arcade version and introduces the 13 playable fighters. We get a closer look at a few characters, like Ray McDougal, who is described as a well-rounded fighter with strong aerial and ground attacks. His moves, like Big Tornado, Dynamite Tackle, and Flying Wheel Kick, are listed with their button commands, which seem to involve quarter circle motions and punch or kick buttons. Then there is Kano Ryoko, a judo expert whose fighting style focuses on throws. Her special moves, such as overhead throw, one-shoulder throw, and mountain storm, are detailed. It mentions her overhead throw changes depending on the distance from the opponent, and that she excels in close combat. Lastly, Jean-Pierre is highlighted, a character who uses charge-based special moves, meaning you need to hold back or down before executing them. Moves like Needle Shower, Val Rose, and Sliding are showcased, emphasizing that his sliding and flick-flack moves are very effective due to their speed and low vulnerability. The page is designed to get players excited about mastering the special moves of these characters in Fighter's History Dynamite on the Saturn. It's a typical character spotlight page you'd expect to see in a gaming magazine at the time. This page continues the character introductions for Fighter's History Dynamite. We start with Matlock Jade, who is described as having a lot of instant kill techniques, especially using kicks, like his Road Hurricane and Overhead Kick. Next up is Lydian, a fighter who doesn't use projectiles but is great at rush attacks with good throwing techniques. Moves like Secret Step Technique and Head Crush are highlighted. Then there's Samchai Tomyam-kun, similar in style to Rei with many strong special moves. For the larger characters, we have Marstorius, a powerhouse focused on throws, with moves like Dash Lariat and Double German. Clown is presented as a unique character, with tricky and hard-to-predict moves. His Head Stamp and Pick-a-Card attacks are mentioned. Zazie Mohaba is showcased as a character with unusual movement techniques rather than direct attacks, using moves like Vulcan Hook and Hellfire. Finally, Karnov is a fire-based character with projectile attacks like Fire Breath and Fireball, perfect for continuous attacks. The page continues to detail the special moves for each character, emphasizing their unique fighting styles in Fighter's History Dynamite. This page shines the spotlight on Thunder Force Versus, boldly proclaimed as the ultimate shooting game. It's essentially a preview, showcasing the game's exciting features. You'll see details about the game system, including Weapon Select, which lets you use front and rear shots and collect up to 5 weapon types, and Overweapon for unleashing powerful attacks. The high-tempo bonus system rewards you for taking down enemies quickly, boosting your score. The Course Select section gives us a glimpse of stage names like No Blue and Wood. In the writer's column, the reviewer is clearly hyped for the game, talking about Technosoft's return to form and how Thunder Force V is a must-play for fans. We also get introduced to the pilot, seeing CTN Crawford, a 32-year-old commander in the Thunder Force, with some background info and her vital stats. The page also confirms the release of Thunder Force V in July, with prices for both the regular and special editions. Finally, there's a completion rate of 100% shown, and comments from the developers basically saying the game is polished and ready to go, enjoyable for everyone from beginners to shooting game veterans. Thunder Force V hype continues, focusing on Stage 2, Wood, a dark forest teeming with bio-experiment enemies, and the tricky boss, Kobaros. Stage 2's boss, Iron Maiden, a fast bioweapon, utilizes energy for high-speed attacks, including a homing laser and insectoid projectiles. Stage 3, Human Road, takes place in a war-torn city. Players must navigate attacks from pillars, tanks, and the mid-boss, Mad Donuts. Airborne combat ensues with wood-like fighters and gargoyle attacks. The Stage 3 boss, a 3 armament armed arm, transforms through 3 forms: a walking tank, a fast-moving bullet-firing tank, and an aerial laser attacker. The page then teases the next stage, promising battles against the Sander Force Corps. This page showcases the game Daisuki, a love simulation where you aim to become an ace pilot while also winning the hearts of cute girls. It highlights the game's appeal as a romance simulation where you can pursue one of 9 girls, each with proactive approaches to romance. The gameplay seems to involve daily schedules, various events, dating, and raising affection through smart choices based on the girl's preferences to achieve a loving relationship after 2 years of school life. The page features an interview with the development staff who aim to create a unique love simulation game. They emphasized making the characters' reactions realistic and ensuring the girls' responses feel believable within the game's situations. They focused on designing characters that feel relatable, moving beyond just archetypes of cute girls, and exploring nuances in their personalities and reactions, aiming for a more grounded and less predictable experience than typical romance games. The game is described as targeting male players, and the developers talk about making sure the girls' reactions are within the expected range for male players to appreciate. Game details include a July 4th release date, a price of 5,800 yen, genre as love simulation, single player only, and suitable for all ages. The developers listed are Yano Kazutoshi, project leaders director, Nagai Takamasa, original draft planning's character design, Ushida Yukitaka, programmer, and Miyazaki Jukichi, department manager. Daisuki offers a 2-year school life experience with 2 main event types. School events challenge players with mini-games like shooting training and physical training, as well as academic exams and skill acquisition activities. These events influence character growth and success. Seasonal events provide romantic opportunities, including Japanese cultural festivals and holidays like Valentine's and Christmas. Players can deepen relationships and receive gifts based on their choices and the girl's affection. The game emphasizes its unique character designs, with girls exhibiting distinct personalities and reactions. The appearance of the characters is influenced by in-game time. A special edition bonus disc adds extra content like drama crids. The game's graphics use a distinctive art style. The reviewers highlight the cute reactions of the girls, especially the blushing animations. Daisuki aims to be a charming romance simulation experience, focused on character depth and relatable interactions. This page promotes Admiral's Decision 2I, a strategy simulation game set in the Pacific War for the Sega Saturn. The game lets you command either the American or Japanese forces, aiming to win the Pacific War. It's the latest installment in the Admiral's Decision series. The text details that players will take on the role of a naval commander and strive for victory in the Pacific theater. There are 7 scenarios available, including 1 campaign scenario that spans the entire Pacific War and 6 shorter scenarios. Victory conditions vary for each. The game emphasizes technology development across 5 fields: industry, weaponry, aviation, shipbuilding, and intelligence. Developing these technologies leads to new weapons, aircraft, and reduced shipbuilding costs and times. However, players can't develop all technologies equally and need to prioritize strategically. An interesting feature highlighted is technological assistance from Germany, portrayed with a picture of Hitler offering support. This assistance is described as crucial for Japan, which is depicted as lagging behind America in technology. The technology offered by Germany is randomly decided, but can be very beneficial, especially in catching up with the Allied technological advancements. The game suggests this German aid should be considered a bonus and not relied upon too heavily. The review snippets suggest the game is well received, with comments praising the game's title and the strategic depth it offers. Admiral's Decision 2 gameplay emphasizes Pacific Theater fleet management. Success hinges on efficient fleet organization, particularly separating attack and defense fleets, and maximizing aircraft carrier usage. Regular carriers are ideal for offense, while converted or light carriers, like Japanese ones, are better suited for defense and ground attack suppression. Mission objectives are critical for victory. Completing objectives, like base capture, boosts morale and production, while failure has negative consequences. A tactical example details capturing heavily defended Singapore using concentrated bomber attacks to neutralize airfields, even with light carriers. Securing the base, particularly after enemy fleet elimination, leads to a major victory. The game also considers commander characteristics. While visible stats exist, hidden traits like bravery influence performance. Players should observe commanders' actions as their actual performance may vary. Pana-chan is an upcoming OVA-style adventure game for the Sega Saturn from Imagineer. The game promises easy accessibility, with approximately 90 minutes of anime cutscenes and features popular voice actors. The limited edition includes a character box with a costume change set and a premium CD single. The story follows Kengo, who works at a video rental store and is tasked with creating recruitment ads. Pana-chan appears on a monitor, kicking off the adventure. The game features Pana-chan, a kind but easily flustered girl, Trouble-chan, a seemingly controlled girl with a violent side. Shinji, Kengo's friend, and the store manager, who is addicted to pachinko. Pana-chan is 90% complete and is scheduled for release on August 8th, with a standard and limited edition price. This page talks about the unfolding story of Pana-chan in the video rental store. Day 2 sees Pana-chan starting her job as promised, instantly becoming popular with customers and brightening up the previously dull store. However, there's a mystery surrounding Pana-chan. She can access Kengo's computer and appears on the pachinko parlor's monitor, raising questions about her true nature and purpose. People wonder if she's even human. Day 3 shifts focus to Trouble-chan and her true identity, revealing a violent space battle within the monitor. It seems Kengo gets pulled into the monitor world and finds himself in the middle of a video game-like scenario with aliens and Trouble-chan. Later in the story, Pana-chan confronts Trouble-chan within the video world, suggesting Pana-chan might know Trouble-chan's true form. The screenshots depict these scenes, showing Pana-chan's popularity at the store, her mysterious appearances on monitors, and the space battle with alien-like characters alongside Trouble-chan. It all seems to be building towards a confrontation between Pana-chan and Trouble-chan, with Kengo caught in the middle of this bizarre video game adventure. This page showcases the game Shenryu, a side-scrolling shooting game. The page highlights its nearing completion at 100% and boasts its release on June 27th for 5,800 yen, appealing to players of all ages. The game is described as a traditional style shooter with 3 types of shots and bombs, featuring challenging enemies and large bosses, staying true to its arcade roots while being enhanced for the SEGA Saturn. The page details the Ojaji system, which seems to be a core game mechanic, managing bombs, difficulty adjustments, and automated features. It mentions a stock of up to 20 bombs and encourages confident players to try the harder difficulty. Furthermore, it notes Saturn-exclusive editions, like an opening movie, and high-resolution mode for widescreen play, aiming to replicate the arcade experience faithfully. The characters are introduced as Pilot Kruger Front and Navigator Scion de Chass for Player 1, and Pilot Helen Rose Katz and Navigator Phyllis Katz for Player 2. The story background is briefly explained as humans in the distant future searching for new homes in space, encountering mechanical life forms on a habitable planet, leading to a war. Finally, the page explains how weapon items change the player's attack type. Red items grant a wide shot, blue items unleash a powerful homing laser, and yellow items provide direct and guided missiles, though with lower power. Screenshots demonstrate each weapon type in action. This page showcases the exciting stages and bosses you'll encounter in Shenryu. Stage 1 is Burn Dragoon Launch, where you battle waves of tanks emerging from hangars. Stage 2 is Battle in Ancient Ruins, featuring fortress-like enemies and hatches that open to attack. Stage 3 is Invade the Sea, where you fight large battleships and resilient aircraft over the sea. Moving on to the boss encounters. The first boss is Hell Moa, a giant walking weapon that uses lasers. The second boss is Giant All, a large fortress boss in the sky with multiple cannons. The third boss is Polypus, a massive battleship that appears at the dock. Lastly, the fourth boss is Dio, described as a monstrous mechanical life form. There are caution boxes highlighting key attacks for each boss, like the main body laser cannon for Hell Moa, numerous cannons on the fortress for Giant All, and tentacle barrage for Polypus, and chest laser cannon for Dio. Finally, there's a campaign where you can win prizes by sending in a postcard, included with the Saturn version of Shenryu. Prizes include an arcade board of Shenryu for 10 people, and the original soundtrack CD for 1,000 people. This page introduces Top Anglers, a super fishing big fight 2 game for the SEGA Saturn, emphasizing a realistic 3D freshwater fishing experience. The game boasts polygon-rendered fish and environments, allowing players to freely choose their fishing spots, unlike previous fixed-location fishing games. Target fish include black bass, crucian carp, bluegill, rainbow trout, catfish, and snakehead, among other freshwater varieties. It highlights the stamina gauge for the player, making the fight with fish a crucial element. There are 4 main tournament modes to test your skills: JMB Pro Tournament, Japan Bass Anglers Tournament, All Japan Fly Fishing Tournament, and All Japan Lure Fishing Tournament. The game offers a 360-degree casting system and beautiful polygon backgrounds to enhance the feeling of real fishing. Beginners are catered to with an information mode that explains fishing basics, locations, tackle, and provides helpful tips with images. The producer's message expresses satisfaction with the game's quality as a serious fishing simulator, even in a game format, and invites user feedback for future development. This page is all about Crazy Ivan, a 3D shooting game coming soon for the SEGA Saturn. You're a crazy hero on a mission to wipe out alien invaders who are occupying Earth. The game is zone-based, and as you clear zones, you can upgrade your weapons to become more powerful for the fights ahead. There are 3 main types of weapons: gun, missile, and special weapons. The gun is your standard weapon, with lots of ammo, good for close-range combat, and can be upgraded to laser cannons and more powerful versions. Missiles are strong and long-range, and you can upgrade them to homing missiles that fire multiple shots. Special weapons are unique and powerful, changing as you upgrade them, starting as a beam, then bombs, and eventually a pulse weapon that wipes out all enemies around you in one shot, although you can only carry one at a time. You collect energy cores in each zone to upgrade your weapons, but you can only gain up to 40 points per zone. The manufacturer even commented on how crazy the game is, and mentioned the protagonist's name is Papi Pichi, hinting at the game's wild and over-the-top nature. It looks like a fast-paced, action-packed shooter where you'll be blasting aliens with increasingly powerful and crazy weapons. This page presents the SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide, a regular section dedicated to SEGA Saturn games that have already been released. This month's guide is highlighted as being particularly full of content. Dominating the page is a stylish illustration of a female anime character. She's got dark purple hair and a tough look, dressed in a gothis-inspired outfit, complete with skull decorations and holding a spiked bat, hinting at the kind of action-oriented titles that might be featured. The guide itself lists a number of games with page numbers, including Harukaze Sentai V-Force, Marika True World, Willy Wombat, Quiz Nanero Dreams, Rainbow Town's Miracle, and Vovadis, 2 Planetary Blockade Oven Ray, taking up pages 165 through 174. At the bottom of the page, it mentions the copyright for Marika True World, belonging to Victor Interactive Software Inc., from 1997. Essentially, this is the contents page for a guide section reviewing already released SEGA Saturn games in this issue of the magazine. This page reveals mid-game information for Harukaze Sentai V-Force. It covers chapters 5, 6, and 7. Chapter 5, Zerog Battle, moves the action to space where you must protect Etude 2 while eliminating all enemies. Chapter 6, General Gimos, sees you defending a moon base under attack from enemy forces, requiring you to defeat the enemy flagship while safeguarding the base itself. Chapter 7, To Venus, plunges you into a desperate situation on Venus, answering a distress signal with your own forces depleted. The page also delves into the ultimate choice, where you can upgrade your Regulus unit, choosing to enhance its attack, armor, or mobility. Key battle strategies are highlighted, advising balanced equipment loadouts, emphasizing that only a 100% hit rate is reliable, and noting that experience points are gained from characters outside of the main storyline. Finally, it playfully mentions the must-see for enemies aspect, being the gouge elements in the opening sequences of chapters 2 and 3, suggesting some suggestive content. The page includes screenshots showcasing gameplay, character dialogues, and tactical scenarios, illustrating these mid-game elements of Harukaze Sentai V-Force. The game is noted as a simulation, and priced at 5,800 yen. This page is all about Marika the World of Truth, an adventure RPG for the SEGA Saturn, where you play as psychic girls. The game is set in Tokyo, and mixes adventure sections with battles against the FACT organization, who are trying to overthrow the Japanese government. The page introduces the main characters. Marika Kamiya, voiced by Yuko Miyamura, who is good at psychokinesis, PK. Akira Kanemoto, voiced by Yuko Nagashima, with teleportation TP powers. And Kaname Tojo, voiced by Kumiko Watanabe, who uses contact pass abilities. There's also a mention of a boy named Shinosuke Hachimaki, voiced by Daisuke Sakaguchi, a genius psychic boy involved with the organization. The game uses various psychic powers in battles, which fall into 4 categories: attack, buff, debuff, and recovery. Combining PK Missile and TD Buster creates a powerful PK Buster attack. The page also gives 4 key battle tips for First, decide whether to fight or run, as escaping works most of the time against weaker enemies. Second, boost your defense, since Marika is vulnerable, suggesting using defensive items. Third, psychic power is precious, so conserve it for bosses, and use standard attacks against weaker enemies. Lastly, it recommends checking out the Fuyukido convenience store in new towns, as it stocks unique items like weapons, armor, and recovery goods. The page shows screenshots of battles and gameplay situations to illustrate these points. This page continues the guide for Marika, Truth of the World, focusing on early game strategy and how to play. It starts by recapping the story prologue. Marika, the protagonist, gains psychic powers after a strange encounter. The villainous Fact organization, led by Tulaman, sees Marika as a psychic threat and sends assassins like Killer Zero and Olga after her. The page then gives control tips, explaining how to move quickly using the L and R buttons, and how to access the Think menu for hints. It advises players to use crosswalks to save time when navigating the game world. It also introduces the other playable characters, Akira and Kaname. Akira, a girl gang leader, joins Marika after investigating strange events linked to a cursed CD and battling a bizarre Clockman enemy. Kaname also becomes a companion. The guide highlights special moves in battle, such as Marika's PK Laser and TP Barrier, and combined attacks like the PK Buster, which combines Marika and Akira's powers. It also points out Akira's teleportation ability, a key skill in her arsenal, and mentions her characteristic catchphrase, Teleportrude. Overall, the page acts as a beginner's guide and highlights the main characters and gameplay mechanics. This page is a strategy guide for the quirky action game Willy Wombat, giving players essential tips to conquer the game. The guide highlights 3 key points to keep in mind while playing. Firstly, it emphasizes the importance of destroying statues found in the maps, as these often hide recovery items and keys that are crucial for progressing. Secondly, when the camera angle makes it hard to pinpoint item locations, the guide suggests using the item's shadow as a visual cue for its precise position. Lastly, for combat, the advice is to engage enemies from a safe distance, especially taking advantage of higher ground, using jump attacks and boomerangs to defeat them while minimizing danger. Moving on from gameplay tips, the page reveals a scoop exclusive to Saitama readers. It unveils a secret, forbidden spell that can help players overcome tricky situations in Willy Wombat. This secret is linked to the game's screensaver, where a hidden formula is displayed at the bottom of the screen. To decipher this spell, players are instructed to combine the formula with a provided table of characters. This table is a grid of characters and symbols that needs to be used with the secret formula to unlock the forbidden spell and aid players in their Willy Wombat adventure, urging players to bring light to the pursued. This guide for Willy Wombat in Area 1 emphasizes strategic gameplay. General tips include rotating the map to reveal hidden items and using boomerangs to collect those in difficult locations. Achieving 100% gem collection is encouraged to earn bonus tokens per stage. For Stage 11, the guide recommends a cautious approach despite its introductory nature, highlighting the presence of hidden enemies and power life items. The stage's linear path is shown with an emphasis on rotating the map to find concealed gems. Collecting all gems and power life items is stressed. The guide then provides a sample game status showing gem and power life counts as a progress indicator. This page continues the Willy Wombat guide, now focusing on Stage 2 and Stage 3. Stage 2, titled Wily Basic Stage, introduces warp zones and key mechanics. The guide describes it as a slightly complex but linear map, where you start at As, go left, use warp A, follow the path to get the key K, then hit key switch D, and reach the goal G. It emphasizes collecting the key to clear the stage, and highlights warp zones and key switches as important elements. Stage 3, Complex Map Structure Stage, features a more intricate layout. Starting at A's, the guide directs players upwards to a high area, then through warp zone A's to get a key and boomerang. After that, the objective is to obtain the force item, F, and reach the goal G. The guide suggests grabbing items in order by first going upwards, and also mentions that after acquiring the ancient text, it must be read at the Java statue to enable the use of the force item. Using the force allows for dashing attacks. Both stage guides include map diagrams labeled Map 12 and Map 13, and show gem and power life counts. Stage 4. Switch and warp strategy is key. Requires dashing and manipulating red switches to alter the environment and collect keys. Foo switches and warp zones lead to the miracle gem. J. Don't miss the power life item. The map is map 14. Gem count is 77, and power life is 2. Stage 5. Don't misjudge the footholds. Presents small platforms and lava. Use the QV button for camera adjustments. Accurate jumps and collecting gems are vital. A force item is essential for jumping and defeating enemies. The map is map 15. Gem count is 76, and power life is 3. Completing stage 5 triggers a significant character scene revealing plot details. This page introduces the SEGA Saturn game, Quiz Nanero Dreams, Rainbow Town Miracle, a love-adventure quiz game that focuses on the game's heroines, each with a unique personality. Players can encounter Megumi, a kind but initially reserved girl, and Momoko, described as cute but potentially challenging. Kumiko is presented as cool and aloof, requiring players to break through her exterior. Finally, there's a girl, potentially Tako, who enjoys solitude but may be surprisingly easy to connect with. The game emphasizes character interaction and dating sim elements, with each heroine presenting a distinct challenge in a quiz game setting. The magazine introduces several characters from upcoming SEGA Saturn titles. First, a mischievous, hungry fairy from CS version who eats cockroaches. Next, a monster-fighting high school girl whose dates are constantly disrupted. Following is a cosplay-loving teacher, a mysterious woman who enjoys dressing up in costumes. Then, a boyish camera woman seeking scoops in Nijirocho, with new events added to show a cute side. A clockwork princess from a mechanical country, who hates humans but loves animals, also makes an appearance. Lastly, a Demon King's familiar named Rinsu, who may develop romantic feelings for the protagonist, is featured, hinting at a romantic comedy storyline. This page focuses on Quo Vadis 2 Wakusei Gekishin Ovanrei. The page delves into the game's story, highlighting the impact of the ending of the first game, where worlds connected, generating both shock and anticipation among players. The page features an interview with producer Tamichi Otsu, who discusses the game's development at Grams Entertainment, emphasizing the integration of simulation and communication windows in real time, a key feature of Quo Vadis 2. The article discusses the narrative depth of Quo Vadis 2, particularly the confrontation between Ovan and Harubara Shingo in the final scene, which concludes the war. Paru, who is briefly mentioned in the instruction manual and is the protagonist of the original Quo Vadis, is positioned against Ovan. The article elaborates on the backstory of Harubara Shingo, revealing that after the Eight-Star Alliance defeated the Goa Empire, Haru sought peaceful relations with the Setua star system, and secretly contacted the Goa Empire. Zelda, also an envoy from Zardish, was involved in this. Despite bringing technology capable of building giant fortresses, their efforts led to military control by the Goa president, and ended badly. The article further explains that after the Goa Empire's peaceful treaty, national defense forces were established with gathered young soldiers, advocating for peace. However, this ideal crumbled due to ego conflicts, reigniting war. Haru, once a comrade at the National Military Academy, now fights against those he once knew, symbolizing the galactic unification in Quo Vadis 2. Raging Future is enveloped, details the narrative of Quo Vadis 2 Wakusei Gekishin Ovanrei. The game shifts from land battles to interstellar warfare as the galaxies of Haru and Ovan fully connect, fostering technological exchange and massive battle fortress construction. Haru, now in the Keen's Reed's Special Duty Platoon, faces former allies. The story explores the Goa president's control over military power and the failed peace efforts, raising questions about betrayal. The game is a SF strategy simulation where nations battle for galactic dominance, built on both simulation and human drama. Understanding the previous game, Quo Vadis, is crucial. The page highlights early pre-orders for the SEGA Saturn version, offering a radio drama bonus. Players command Haru in vast space battles, aiming to end the war and experience a deep simulation. This page delves into even more secrets of Raging Future, suggesting that just one playthrough isn't enough to see everything. It highlights the tragedy of betrayal story, revealing hidden scenarios in the final missions where betrayals can occur depending on your actions. Characters like Sid, Zykov, and Nelly are key figures in these betrayals and the conditions surrounding them. The page also points out the diverse communication content, emphasizing the variety of dialogue you can hear, which changes based on your gameplay and choices, even mentioning specific lines from Zykov. Moving on, the page talks about the wide range of Raging Future merchandise being released. This includes a soundtrack and drama CD featuring the ending theme and radio dramas, a photo CD visual file with setting illustrations and CG art, garage kits of the assault armors like Felon, GX, and Fidelis, collection telecards with gold finishes and character art, and even a special Zippo lighter. There's a contest to win this lighter, requiring you to send a postcard with your details and a message about Raging Future. It seems like Raging Future is really taking off, with merchandise catering to fans. This page hypes the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Mr. Bones, as a groundbreaking bone game described as incredibly cool. The game began development with a call from SEGA and is targeting the niche market. Advertisements have been placed at convenience stores. The game's unusual character design and maniacal style are noted, but the text finds it interesting and funky. The text also mentions the Bone Squad characters. Bone Squad 1 is seen as expressive, and Yoshida-san from Sega PR resembles this character, while Bone Squad 2 is portrayed as mysterious and essential to the game's success. The game is an action title scheduled for June 27th at 5,800 yen on 2 Candela's rooms, fully voiced, and available exclusively at convenience stores. The text confidently declares it a hit, set to redefine the Saturn gaming experience. This page dives into Sega's newest title, Mr. Bones, which is being touted as their biggest and most unique game. It's highlighted as a collection of 22 different games all rolled into one, emphasizing its cool factor and the unusual gameplay. The page explains the basic gameplay mechanics of Mr. Bones, focusing on the skeletalism meter, which is essentially your health. You control the main character Bones and must complete objectives in each stage while keeping your skeletalism meter above 0. The game is all about controlling Bones' intricate movements. Control-wise, the directional buttons handle movement and crouching, while the face buttons have specific functions. The A button is used to reassemble bone parts that you find. The B button unleashes a Vivi attack which drains enemy energy. The C button is for jumping and hanging, and the X button separates body parts. It's crucial to assemble Bones' 7 body parts: head, body, ribs, tailbone, left, right arms, and legs, in the correct order. 3 stages are previewed. Grave Escape is a frantic escape stage where you run from enemies. Mausoleum involves battling waves of enemies and climbing to the roof. The Valley is described as a climber stage with puzzle elements. Finally, the page touches upon Sega's promotional efforts, mentioning the Bone Squad, who are out in Tokyo Joypolis to boost awareness for Mr. Bones. This seems to be part of a wider strategy to get the public familiar with this unique title. This page continues the deep dive into Mr. Bones, showcasing a variety of the game's stages. We're looking at Stage 4 Guitar Solo, where you need to unleash your hot soul in a guitar performance. Stage 5, 6, and 7 are all bat-themed: Nights of the Bats, Dawn of the Bats, and Day of the Bats, where the objective is to retrieve bone parts. Stage 8 is Rolling Logs, described as like a rolling stone, which seems to be a downhill rolling log challenge. Stage 9 is Drum Solo, promising a primitive sound performance. Finally, Stage 10 is Glass Shards, teased as a different dimension and likely involving jumping challenges. The page also details promotional activities for Mr. Bones, highlighting the Bones Squad and their efforts to increase popularity. They are focusing on 2 strategies: polite customer service popularity up, where they emphasize respectful interaction, and user-friendly popularity up, suggesting a friendly and approachable demeanor with customers. The goal is to make the Bones Squad, and by extension, Mr. Bones, more well-known and liked by the public. This page showcases even more stages from the bizarre world of Mr. Bones. Stage 11 is Big Bones, where you have to maneuver bone parts to assemble a skeleton, described as a puzzle-like stage. Stage 14, Little People's Village, is about rescuing small people from spiders using Vivi-BB attacks or cutting spiderwebs with scissors. Stage 12, Voltex, is a mysterious stage with flowing water and rotating tunnel sections. Stage 15, Icy Lake, is set on a slippery ice surface where thin ice can break, requiring you to skillfully navigate using pieces of ice. Stage 16 is Beneath Monster, a short, intense race to escape a monster by quickly learning the route. Stage 13, Underwater Ride, is a forced scrolling underwater level where precise controls are needed to avoid crashing into the walls. Stage 17, Shadow Monster, focuses on light and shadow, requiring you to operate switches and memorize enemy shadow attack patterns. The page also details the Bone Squad's promotional efforts to boost the game's popularity. They are focusing on polite customer service and a user-friendly approach to gain favor with customers. They are also implementing a direct appeal to visual popularity strategy, utilizing costumes, park performances, and direct engagement with the public. They even gave out Mr. Bones costume kits as presents to park visitors. This page delves further into the captivating stages of Mr. Bones. Stage 18 is Dry Moat, where the objective is to liberate Sparky. Stage 19, Hall of Pain, challenges you to smash through stained glass. Stage 20, Skeltsism Generator, is about relentlessly attacking enemies while dodging floating threats. Stage 22, Loss Ends, tests your timing as you deflect plasma. Stage 21, Funny Bones, is a unique stage where you must tell jokes to guardian skeletons and win by making the audience laugh by correctly combining phrases with button presses. There's also a Mr. Bones review section where reviewers number 1 and 2 share their thoughts. They highlight how much fun they had playing Mr. Bones at Tokyo Joyopolis. Reviewer 1 praises the game's accessibility and focus on enjoyable gameplay over complex rules, particularly mentioning the guitar solo stage and the game's overall balanced design. Reviewer 2 concurs, noting the game's surprising addictiveness despite its unusual concept of skeleton protagonists, and appreciates its unique and charming character design, making it appealing to a broad audience. The Bone Squad are also pictured, showcasing their transition from customer service to experiencing the game as customers at Tokyo Joyopolis, appearing tired but still enjoying themselves. Lastly, there's a reader giveaway where 5 lucky people can win the Mr. Bones game, and 1 person will receive a Mr. Bones costume set designed by SEGA Nanryushi. This page is titled, Prince Hiroi's Vietnam Travelogue Part 1. It details the experiences of Hiroi Oji, who traveled to Vietnam. He explains his reason for visiting Vietnam, noting that during his youth, the Vietnam War was a significant event, and he remembers seeing Saigon fall in newspapers. He felt compelled to visit Saigon, now Ho Chi Minh City, to see what it was like. Hiroi talks about his photography during the trip, mentioning he took many pictures, mainly of people, especially children. He emphasizes his approach as a professional cameraman, aiming to capture genuine expressions and moments when people are unaware of the camera. He mentions interacting with locals, buying fruit for them, and sharing cigarettes and tips to create natural smiles for his photos. He describes it as a moment when the barrier of the camera disappears between him and the subjects, making the interactions feel more authentic. He shares a quote from someone in Saigon describing the Mekong River and the children swimming in it. Prince Hiroi's travelogue describes his observations in Vietnam, contrasting its vibrant energy with a perceived decline in Japan. He's struck by the children's vitality, reminiscent of Showa-era Japan. He notes the influence of French colonization on the Vietnamese language. Hiroi documents his travels through market photographs and enjoying simple interactions, such as sharing grapes and riding in a cyclo-taxi. The page then shifts to an announcement for a Sakura Wars lottery. The grand prize is a unique, unpurchasable kimono set, with a production cost of 300,000 yen. Over 5,000 entries were received. The winner, Makiho Yuina from Hokkaido, will receive the exclusive, valuable prize. This interview with Shinichi Ogasawara, game director for Sega AM3's The Lost World, Jurassic Park, details the game's development. Ogasawara aimed to capture the terror of the dinosaurs and the feeling of survival, focusing on fast-paced action and thrilling gameplay. He sought to replicate the panic and excitement of titles like Dynamite Cop, utilizing a free gun controller for immersion, particularly in the cooperative two-player mode. The game features a dynamic 3D sound system with 6 speakers designed to immerse players further. Sound design was a significant challenge, with sounds moving freely around the player. Inspired by John Williams, the music complements the action. Ogasawara highlights the appeal of two-player boss battles and the rapid dinosaur movements. The interview also briefly mentions Top Skater and an advertisement for Reef Warp. This page is a full-page, powerful advertisement for The Lost World Jurassic Park arcade game. Following on from the interview with the game director, this advert announces the game's grand release in early July, highlighting that it's from Sega AMR&D Department Number 3 and Number 4, the same team that was developing it. The image is dominated by 2 menacing red-toned Trex dinosaurs, really conveying the terror of the dinosaurs that was discussed in the previous interview. The Japanese text alongside exclaims, "It's powerful!" and "Rush!" further emphasizing the exciting and action-packed gameplay they aimed for, which was inspired by games like Dynamite Cop. It's a visually striking page, clearly designed to generate hype for the arcade release of The Lost World Jurassic Park. This page highlights the upcoming arcade racing game Le Mans 24. It's emphasized as a fully immersive racing game and a 24-hour endurance race game. The game captures the essence of the real Le Mans race, which is a big event held annually in France. The page points out the game features day and night cycles, with time flowing realistically within the game. It mentions that the course is a mix of public roads and circuits, around 13 kilometers long, creating a long and dynamic racetrack. The game is designed to always have a race in progress, even when players join mid-game, meaning players can jump into the action at any point. A notable feature is the pit stops for tire changes and refueling, reflecting the strategic element of endurance racing. The game boasts 6 real-life cars, including famous models like the Mazda 787B and Sauber C9 Mercedes, all meticulously sampled and supervised by actual racing drivers. Speaking of drivers, the Czech section introduces 2 real-world drivers who supervise the game: Yujiro Terada, known as Mr. Le Mans, and a veteran of the race, and Kunimitsu Takahashi, a popular driver who has competed in various racing series. Their involvement aims to add authenticity to the game. The game is stated to be running on the Sega Model 3 board and is scheduled for release in August. Overall, the page presents Le Mans 24 as a highly anticipated and realistic arcade racing experience. This page dives into the secret characters hidden within Top Skater. We get introduced to 2 of them, Alex and PNUT. Alex, described as Ash's brother and a surfer dude, can be unlocked by inputting left 13 times, then right 3 times, then left 3 times at the character select screen. PNUT, who is Cookie's sister and also a surfer, is unlocked by inputting right 6 times, then left 6 times, then right. There's a comment from the designers explaining that these hidden characters came from internal discussions. They were considering various themes, like animals or 50s skater fashion, before landing on these 2. The page also features a queue and a section with gameplay advice. It reveals that Sanchan is an unofficial mascot-type character from AM3 R&D hidden in the game's intro. Gameplay tips are given for achieving high scores, with bank jumps roll from right to left during the jump. It also explains pre-input for tricks like ollie, suggesting to perform an ollie while entering a bank. Finally, it touches on controlling the exit direction from drum cans, advising players to use directional inputs upon entering and exiting to influence the exit direction and potentially link into cool combo moves. This page is all about the buzz surrounding the Virtualon model figures hitting the market. It's part of Sega AM3 R&D's project, and they're showcasing the Real Model Series Cyber Troopers Virtualon figures. The article highlights that these action figures are finally being released and causing a stir in the model industry. It mentions the initial lineup will include Temjin, Raiden, and Viper 2. These aren't just static models either. They are articulated for posing, and they're pre-painted, ready to go straight out of the box. They even interviewed someone from Sega Toys' development team who mentioned the effort put into making these figures accurately represent the in-game forms and capture the cool factor of the Virtu Cryoroids. They were really aiming to make them affordable and accessible to many fans, and they are recommending everyone to buy them. There's also a section about Virtualon characters appearing as UFO catcher prizes. Apparently, a prize show happened back in May, and these UFO catcher prizes are planned for release later in the year, from October to December. The lineup includes Temjin, Raiden, Viper 2, and Feiyan, and the article suggests these prizes are also really well made and worth looking out for in arcades. Essentially, it's a push to get fans excited about all the Virtuon goodies coming soon. This page continues the chat about the Virtua Lason model kits and features interviews with the producer Hasamoto Hideo and Takazawa Koichi from Wave, the development team. They talk about the overwhelmingly positive response to the model kits, with fans excited to finally get their hands on them. They aim to create affordable and high-quality models that accurately reflect the in-game Virtuoids. Takazawa mentions a limited edition run of the Temjin model scheduled for release from mid to late July, and talks about pre-orders being strong despite it being a limited run. The page also highlights a big giveaway of Virtualon model kits. They are giving away 5 play model Temjins, 5 soft vinyl Temjins, 1P2P, and 3 each of resin-cast Temjins, Dulcus, Raiden, Viper 2, Balbasbo, and Belgdor models. A total of 33 models up for grabs. To enter, readers need to send in a postcard stating which model they'd like to win, and send it to the provided address. It mentions this giveaway is popular, being the second and third such event, and encourages readers to participate if they missed out before. This page is an official corner of AM2 Research and Development and focuses on Virtua Striker 2, just before the Sega Headquarters Cup tournament. It's packed with pre-tournament information and winning strategies for the game. The page features an interview with Mr. Mifune, the director of Virtua Striker 2, discussing strategies. He talks about how the arcade version is popular and well received. When asked about team selection, Mifune suggests picking a team you genuinely like and are familiar with, rather than just focusing on strong teams. He mentions tactical switching during matches and creating a flow of pressure, especially by scoring the first goal. He highlights the psychological impact of scoring first and how it can disrupt the opponent's composure, potentially leading to more mistakes. He also suggests changing tactics during the game, for example, switching to offense after getting a lead and defense after conceding. There are also Virtua Striker 2 battle techniques sections. Technique 1 emphasizes pressuring the opponent to score the first goal, mentioning loop shots as visually impressive and effective. Technique 2 focuses on defensive techniques near your own goal, explaining how you can now kick the ball at a wider angle and clear balls effectively near your own goal area. The page also includes a photo and profile of Mr. Kenichiro Fujita, the main programmer for Virtua Striker 2, who previously worked on the original Virtua Striker. It notes that his preferred team in the game is Sweden. This page provides updates on Virtua Striker 2 and Virtua Fighter Kids. The Virtua Striker 2 section focuses on defensive strategies, including ball-clearing techniques. It also previews the upcoming Sega Headquarters Cup, highlighting the competitive atmosphere and current high scores. The interview with programmers hints at exciting gameplay to come. For Virtua Fighter Kids, there's an announcement for the Java T-Battle Koshien tournament, the national finals taking place July 27th in Tokyo. The tournament will feature open and women's classes with a limited number of participants. Finally, an advertisement for the Virtua Cop 2 limited Virtua Gun set is featured, celebrating an award win. The set, including a commemorative Virtua Gun, is scheduled for release on July 25th. This page reviews 3 games. Daisuke, a love story adventure game, received mixed reviews. The Lady Users Group enjoyed the scenario and character, but found the story stretched. The High Rollers were unimpressed, while guest game writers found it typical and tedious. Scores averaged 5.710 with 100% completion. SS Joypad AI, a controller, was positively received for its ease of use, reasonable price, and improved control. It scored 5/10 with 90% completion. Line. Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, an adventure game focusing on a single character, is previewed. Reviewers appreciated its well-crafted adventure elements and character focus. It has 100% completion. This page from the Backtech A Go Go column is all about secret techniques and tips for Sega Saturn games. It kicks off with Option Plus, a hidden feature in a game. Though the specific game isn't explicitly named, it's implied to be the featured game of the week. Clearing the game multiple times unlocks extra modes in the title screen under Option Plus. Clearing it once grants you Movie Select and Picture Select to freely view in-game movies and still images from the disc. Clearing it twice unlocks View Mode and Game Only Mode, offering different viewing options during gameplay. Clearing it 3 times finally unlocks Phase Select, allowing you to choose stages, and the coveted Muteki, or Invincibility mode. Moving on, there are tricks for Polygon soccer games, likely J.League. Go! Go! Goal! First up is Big Head mode, activated at the Team Select screen by holding L or R and pressing A or C. Then, there's Radar display, again at the Team Select screen, activated by holding XYZ and pressing A or C, which shows player positions during matches. Finally, for DX Hired, a neat camera control trick is revealed. By pausing the game and then pressing X, B, and Z together, you gain camera control. L, R zooms, the directional pad rotates the camera, and Z and C adjust vertical camera angle. Pressing XYZ again will hide the pause menu while keeping the camera control active. This page is a schedule of upcoming new software releases for the SEGA Saturn. It explains how to read the page, detailing the genre abbreviations like ACT for action, RPG for role-playing, and ADV for adventure, among others. It also clarifies symbols used in the list, such as stars indicating first-time releases, and the circled numbers referring to compatible peripherals like racing controllers, mice, and multiplayer's adapters. The main part of the page is a table listing games coming out from late June through to October, and even some with undecided release dates. The table includes the release date, game title, price, maker, genre, and compatibility details. Looking at the games coming in July, there's Bradle Disc Volume 5, Nightruth #03, Dark Seed 2, and Princess Crown, which is noted as coming in the lower, which means the latter part of the month. August includes titles like Rockman X4, Mega Man X4, Go 2i Professional, and Tokimeki Memorial Taikai Hen, which is a title from the popular dating sim series. September highlights Assault Suits Vulcan 2 and Digital Pinball Last Gladiators. October features Grandred, among others. The genres are varied, covering action, RPG, adventure, simulation, and even puzzle and education titles. The prices are also listed, mostly around the 5,800 to 6,800 yen range, with some exceptions. Overall, this page gives a good overview of the exciting new games Saturn owners could look forward to in the coming months. The next page continues the new software release schedule for the SEGA Saturn, moving into the winter period, the end of 1997, and even looking ahead to spring of 1998 and beyond. For the winter releases, there are titles like Magical Story and 7 Mansions, War, Laughter, and Smile. Moving into the 97 year-end timeframe, notable releases include Basic for Sega Saturn Standard Alone Type and Wizard's Harmony 2. For releases planned within 97 year, we see Kyukyoku Tiger 2 Plus and Sonic R. Looking further ahead to 98 year March, Ultraman Zukan 3 is listed. Finally, for next spring, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 3 is mentioned alongside All-Star Baseball. The rest of the page lists a large number of games with undecided release dates, spanning many genres. There's a wide variety, from RPGs like Farland Story, The Land of Dragon Castle, and Lunar Eternal Blue, to action titles such as All-Star Baseball, Killing Time, Battle Sports, and X2. Simulation and strategy games are also present, with titles like Derby Stallion, working title, and Modern Great Strategy Strikes, working title. Adventure and puzzle games are also listed, including Gungriffon 2, working title, and Dungeons & Dragons. Overall, the page gives a sense of the continued flow of games coming to the SEGA Saturn, with a diverse lineup for different tastes well into the future. Game Art's subtle relationship, Death in the Third Person, reviews the puzzle game Baku Baku Animal World Smashing Championship. The game features digital pets, dogs, rabbits, monkeys, and pandas, that can die if not fed, presenting a game over state. Dr. Fuse explores the unique sense of loss this evokes, calling it Death in the Third Person, differentiating it from real-world loss. Gameplay involves puzzle mechanics to feed the animals. The review highlights the digital pet aspect as central to the game's appeal. The piece concludes by considering the role of death and rebirth in games. A weekly Fuse Academy section, focused on anime and game for June, invites further exploration with Dr. Fuse. SEGA Saturn Magazine held a summer reader giveaway featuring various prizes. SEGA M2 offered signed software for answering a question about their head, promoting games like Sega Rally Championship. Ptolemy gave away anime cells for identifying mysterious thief Saint Tails' identity. SEGA offered a Sega Goods set, including merchandise and games, for correctly answering which Sega character was returning. Konami offered Tokimeki Memorial jigsaw puzzles for identifying a new character in their drama series. Enov gave away a Shellshock LP and stickers for a question about a versus fighting game. Compile provided Puyo Puyo Sun telephone cards for answering a character question. Applications were due by July 4th, with winners announced in the next issue. This page continues the reader giveaway from SEGA Saturn Magazine. Microcabin is giving away a signed artboard from Galactic Attack, Heroism, to one lucky person who can name the fourth protagonist, alongside Ayame, Ruria, and Priscilla. Tecmo is offering J.League Go Go Goal software to 3 winners who can identify the correct name for their Saturn soccer game, released on May 30th. Xing has 20 plush Oyo-Yo dolls up for grabs if you can name the 2P character in Gusen Oyo S, with the 1P character being Gusen. Nihon Create is giving away 10 sets of Tri-Rush Depi software and My Dream tissues, along with My Dream and Mami Omo Radio Caravan stickers, for answering which radio program is full of fun topics and broadcasts weekly. Spike is offering a Lupin the Third original postcard set to 3 people who can pinpoint when the first Lupin the Third TV series started broadcasting. Finally, Coconuts Japan is giving away 5 sets of a Terada Katsu signed poster and Angel Graffiti S software for those who know the manga artist who draws the characters for Angel Graffiti S. This page announces several reader giveaways. Naxat offers fishing lure sets, requiring the correct identification of fish caught by lure fishing pros, trout, black bass, or sea bass. Atlas gives away character goods and asks readers to name a summer-themed character, Jack Frost. Takara offers poster and card case sets for correctly identifying the Eberouge game heroine. Tonkin House provides Cat the Ripper software, the winner chosen based on correctly naming the game's creator. Finally, the editorial department gives away SEGA Saturn software, with the correct day of the week the SEGA Saturn magazine is published being the deciding factor. The page also lists winners from the previous issue's giveaways. Additionally, the announcement states the magazine will expand in page count and have a new price. The next issue, July 18th edition, will be released on July 4th. This page is an advert for the SEGA Saturn fighting game Beast Wrestler, originally titled Jushinsu in Japan. Developed by Rabbit and published by Electronic Arts Victor, the page showcases characters like Yulin, Egith, Wuling, and Eddie. It highlights key gameplay features such as battling 8 assassins to collect 8 mythical Beast God pearls, unleashing powerful Beast God attacks, using an instant defense system, and creating original combo techniques. The game, a fighting action title for SEGA Saturn, was priced at 5,800 yen. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn fighting game Rabba-Dub, originally known in Japan as Rabbit. Developed by Rabbit and published by Electronic Arts, this page showcases the game and its characters. We can see 4 of them. Rex, who looks like a brawler with a pipe. Jocko, a bandaged character in blue. Tianren, a more agile-looking character with a green outfit. And Hoenn, a beast-like character with claws and a cape. The tagline at the top, suggests, "Open it!" or "Unleash it!" maybe hinting at the game's action or special features. The advert also includes small screenshots of the game in action, giving a glimpse into the fighting gameplay on the SEGA Saturn. It looks like another interesting fighting title coming to the console in 1997. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn game Mr. Bones, and a super present campaign they're running. The page highlights Mr. Bones as a rhythm and action game, with 24 stages promising both thrills and laughs. To encourage purchases, there's a big super present campaign offering bonus gifts. Some of the prizes up for grabs are pretty cool, including tickets to the MTV Video Music Awards in New York and Europe, autographed goodies from artists associated with MTV, and limited edition Mr. Bones merchandise like a spoon and a silver ring. They're even giving away SEGA Saturn consoles as prizes. It looks like a substantial campaign pushing people to buy Mr. Bones.